that tells me that we're live right now. So I can always go double click on that. So I'll listen, I brought this time because it was choppy last time. But what you can do is go to your phone. That's how you can do to see if I'm getting a volume. This time because it was choppy last time. What you can do is go to your phone. Oh, that's how you can do to see if I'm getting a volume.
Everybody come from. Gonna ask everyone to please silence or turn your cell phones off. Is it here? The Bogalusa City Council meeting invocation will be done by Pastor Spikes, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father, we plead upon your grace, we plead upon you, Father God, to enter into this room, enter into the hearts of man, Lord. We ask that you will have your way on tonight. Lord God, we ask tonight that you will move through this place. Father God, allow us to see you and not us. Dear Master, we give you all the glory and all the praise in this place on tonight. Amen. Amen.
I say the reading of the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Smith. Here. Councilwoman Cates.
Here.
Councilwoman Keys.
Here.
Councilwoman Temples, and President Kellis is both out. Councilman Irvin.
Here.
Vice President Douglas.
Here. Our minutes from, July the sixth will be carried over until our next meeting. So we have recognitions and award. We have a guest speaker, which is, Jana Pounds, the Sticker Shock campaign. Okay, Ms. Pounds, you have 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be here. Thank you, Councilwoman Cates, for inviting us here to share about the Sticker Shock campaign. My name is Jana Pounds, and I've recently joined the ADAPT team after 20 years of being an educator, and I'm working with the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration in collaboration with the Florida Parish Human Services Authority and the Office of Behavioral Health to implement awareness and preventive programs related to underage drinking. Today, I'm here to speak to you about the National Sticker Shock campaign. This is an awareness campaign that's programmed to design visually to remind adults and youth to stop underage drinking. In order to change people's behavior, you must first change their environment. And in order to understand their environment, we do things like youth surveys in our schools to help us understand what the children are going through and some of the things that they are facing. I did have a little bit of a presentation prepared to show some of the data, but since I'm unable to show it on the screen, I'd like to share it with you now. We asked students in grades 6 through 12 a series of questions, particularly related to substance use. And one of those questions was, how easy would it be for you to buy alcohol at a convenience store without an ID? And in 2023, the survey said that 9% of students said very easy. Now, 90% said that it was hard, and so that is in the positive steps. Another thing I want to point out was this same survey was repeated in 2021, and at that time, it was 89% said hard and 10% said easy. So we have seen a downcrease in the amount of students or kids being able to purchase alcohol at convenience stores. So that's been a positive thing with the Sticker Shock campaign moving forward, hoping to continue to spread that awareness message. The National Sticker Shock campaign was designed to join forces with local community leaders, youth, law enforcement, and government agencies to change the environment that contributes to the problem of underage drinking. We know that underage drinking is a serious problem. It poses enormous health and safety risks to the youth in our community. Alcohol is the most widely used substance among American youth, contributing to more teen deaths than all other drugs combined. On Wednesday, June 7th, Washington Parish Youth Coalition members joined forces with the Bogalusa Police Department and local business owner James Barber to implement the Sticker Shock campaign. Stickers were placed on windows of Hayes Liquor Store and the pumping station here in Bogalusa. Seeing these stickers near the liquor that's being sold is a clear message to our community that it is illegal to provide alcohol to minors. In addition to allowing us to place these stickers inside the establishment, we also place signs like this in front of the business, letting the public know that this business supports the Louisiana law RS 14931, which prohibits the sale of alcohol to minors. As of now, we've been in just those 2 locations. We are branching out, reaching as many convenience store owners here in Bogalusa and then hopefully into the rest of the parish as we can. Moving forward, we hope to add more stores in the community to share our awareness message with us. In addition to the Sticker Shock campaign, we also provide many other forms of prevention and education in the community, such as our preventive education programs where we go into the schools, our youth coalition that does so much with us, and many others. Together, we hope to display the consistent message, the very clear message that underage drinking is not tolerable. Efforts of everyone coming together collectively, we hope to bring about better outcomes and changes in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pounds. Ms. Pounds, thank you.
Yes, ma'am, they can contact me at the ADAPT office here in Bogalusa, and, Mr. Rusty, the executive director, or Mr. Gina Meyer, I'm sure one of us would be glad. And if and if you guys know of a way and have those connections, please let us know, because that's what we would like to do is to reach out to these businesses to place these stickers in all of these locations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next guest speaker is Mr. Andrew Arado.
Last time, well, they came to it 4 times.
Right now, we're in recognitions and awards. Recognitions and awards, Mr. Crooks. Mr. Arado.
All right. My name is Andrew Arata. My address is 1742 Goodyear Drive, Bogalusa, Louisiana. Good evening, council members, Mayor Trong, fellow citizens of Bogalusa. I stand before you today to advocate for Bogalusa Youth Sports. We're a nonprofit organization comprising a diverse group of board of directors dedicated to fostering a lifelong commitment to fitness and encouraging healthy lifestyle choices among the youth of Bogalusa. Our primary objectives are to promote physical fitness, character development, teamwork, and sportsmanship. As a proud resident who was born and raised in Bogalusa, Louisiana, I personally experienced the positive impact that a great youth sports program can have on childhood development. I attribute much of my personal growth to participating in sports from a young age. Through sports, I learned the importance of cooperation, teamwork, personal growth, as well as the value of hard work in pursuit of goals. Most importantly, I formed lifelong friendships and gained valuable life lessons from the coaches who made a profound impact on me, and I just want to help bring that to the youth today. In alignment with our mayor's shared vision for the youth of our community, we believe that independent nonprofit organizations held accountable at various levels are the most effective means to achieve our goals. As of today, we are working with the city to reach an agreement regarding field usage and establishing a relationship with the city through a new commission. This agreement would serve 3 primary functions. Firstly, it would benefit the city both legally and financially. By entrusting nonprofit organizations like ours with the responsibility of running sports leagues, the city can focus on other pressing matters, free from the financial burden and administrative responsibilities associated with these programs. Furthermore, it would ensure that the city is not responsible for any incidents occurring during youth sports events. Secondly, the agreement empowers parents and other community members who want to get involved with the youth sports in our city. We firmly believe that every parent and community member interested in sports should have the opportunity to contribute their ideas, be heard, and actively engage in helping shape these programs. We strive for transparency and financial accountability because that's what every parent and member of this community deserves. The agreement would grant the city the authority to request financial audits of the youth sports programs, assuring businesses and individuals that their donations will be entirely dedicated to these kids and these programs. Thirdly, our ultimate aim is to create an environment where the youth of Bogalusa can have fun and thrive. Independent organizations, driven by dedicated volunteers and parents, are best suited to create successful programs with the well-being and development of children as the top priority. In conclusion, Bogalusa Youth Sports just is a group of members of our community wanting to make a positive impact on the youth of our city. Our goal is simple: assist the city, empower parents, and provide opportunities for the youth to flourish. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arado. Next on the agenda is adoptions of resolution. And the next resolution will be introduced by Councilwoman Smith.
A resolution for the city of Bogalusa relative to the Louisiana Community Development Block Grant Clearance Program.
Is there anyone from the public wish to speak on this?
Well, we're actually gonna make a motion first and then second, and I'll, like we usually do. I make a motion.
Okay.
A second.
Okay. Now the public.
Come on to the podium, Ms. Brown.
Debbie McLeod, 414 Mississippi Avenue. You guys should know what I'm going to say. Reading a resolution that gives you absolutely no information about what it's about, why it's happening, and then ask for public comment is absolutely absurd. I get tired of saying this every single time. There is no excuse for not giving the public enough information for them to get up here and comment on what you're doing. And you guys keep doing it. This is 4 years now. I've been asking you all to change this. How is this so hard to have somebody write a synopsis and tell us what this is about? This is just ridiculous. We have to act. I shouldn't be mad about this, but I am. It's really getting old, guys. How hard is it to take an extra 2 minutes to explain it to the public so that they can respond? And it becomes a joke if nobody can get up here and comment, because what are they going to comment on? Oh, I don't like the idea that you have a resolution, because that's as much information as we have. So maybe we can do better with the rest of it tonight, and people actually tell us what you're doing a resolution about. So if any of you would like to tell us what this resolution is, I would be really happy to hear it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. This, Ms. McLeod.
I was speaking, Councilwoman. Ms. McLeod, to kind of alleviate that concern, I'm more than happy to, once the council reads it in, to explain to the public what it is. This particular grant, we're working with the Office of Community Development with the state to try to get some of these blighted houses torn down. We have 25, I believe, condemned houses on the list that we're going to submit with the application. It's time to tear some of this stuff down because it's holding our city back. That's land that we could be using for something else.
I think that's excellent. I have no problem necessarily with what you guys want to do, but it is a joke to say, can we have public comments when people don't know what they're commenting on? And
Right.
It's just got to stop. I mean, there's no good reason for us to keep doing this. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Also,
Also-
Ms. McLeod,
Wait a minute.
also, Ms. McLeod, on the agenda itself, this is like a two-part of this particular resolution. And the second part, yes, they tying it together.
That's the problem, if somebody said that, if you can see it on this page, then people would know where to look, right?
Right.
But we don't,
Right. That's what I'm iterating now. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, the grant is broken down into 3 parts. I myself, Councilman Irvin, and Councilman Cates will introduce 3 separate parts. This grant provides the units of general local government in a non-entitlement area, which is Bogalusa. We're going to be offering 21 or 22 development of visible community by providing suitable living environments and expanding the economic opportunity, principally for persons of low and moderate income, to remove blight, not less than the severity of the percentage, as well as the empowerment throughout the area. So as the mayor stated, what it is to actually be a part of a grant that will actually clear up the blighted properties to make Bogalusa look a little bit better. You're welcome.
Hi, Charlotte Johnson, 620 Georgia Avenue. This has been a long time coming because we need to get this done. My only question would be, can we get 3 grants instead of just 1? We have so much blighted property here, right? We have so much of it. And I hope that in the process of doing these blighted properties that we're talking to the residents who live close by, because I know that even myself, I sit down next to the flower shop, the gift shop that burned down, and there's giant rats in there because nobody's cleaned up the fire. And I can't imagine, I can take care of this stuff, right? But there's a lot of people who don't have the income to be able to fight this stuff, and they infest their houses, and it's just not a good situation. So I hope that we're talking and helping the people who really need it the most get those out of their neighborhood, because it's gonna help their neighborhood tremendously.
Thank you. And also, you stated about the finances. The amount of the administration fees is $35,000. The city will assume any additional costs of additional fees like investors when they go in to submit those estimates. To give you a little bit more clarification.
Anyone else from the public? Council discussion? Ms. McLeod. Ms. McLeod. Mr. Quinn, we are in council discussion. No, that's only on this matter here.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Thank you, ma'am. One thing I hope has gotten better on this blighted property problem that we have, our dear old state of Louisiana has stopped us from doing a lot of stuff. You can't tear this down, that permission for that, you can't burn this down, you can't do that. If they change, glory be, but for the last 15, 20 years, they have really made it hard on Bogalusa to do that.
Thank you. Back.
I'm all for these properties going down. I just have a question.
Name and address.
Oh, I'm sorry, Darling Gas, 602 Virginia Avenue, Bogalusa. I just have a quick question. When you go to tear those properties down, will you advise the neighbor so that they can maybe somehow protect their property from, i.e. the rats and whatever vermin are living there, coming onto their property? Will we get like maybe a notification or something, we're coming on XYZ date?
Yes,
Would
ma'am.
would be helpful.
Yes, ma'am. I'll have the Director of Community Development to send out letters before we tear the structures down.
Good.
And also for the record, clarification would be 25 structures instead of 21.
Back to the council discussion, Ms. McLeod. There are usually papers that are put out on the table over here.
I read through them. The problem is that, and I saw the stuff about the glass property, what I'm saying is that when she read what the resolution was, there was no way to know that that was tied into the other property. You know, so when she, I mean, you know, we walked in 15 minutes before the meeting, if we're lucky. Look at a piece of paper, if we're lucky. You know, I had to borrow somebody. And then we're supposed to know what's going on. And I'm saying that's not our job. Our job, and I looked at the agenda before I came last week too, so I think I've done my due diligence and everything. What I'm saying is that you guys have to give us enough information so we know what for, if it's in the packet. You know, tell us where we can find it in the packet. Give us a short description. This is not rocket science. This is not that hard. I really don't understand what's about. And why we should discuss it. I'm gonna say, okay,
Okay, our next resolution will be read by Councilwoman Keys.
So it's a resolution to hire administrative consultant for the city of Bogalusa.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Come on, come on.
I'm sorry, I gotta catch up with myself. Okay, vote by roll call.
Councilwoman Smith? Aye. Councilwoman Cates?
Aye.
Councilwoman Keys?
Aye.
Councilman Urban?
Aye.
Vice President Douglas?
Aye. Next resolution, Councilwoman Keys.
Okay, a resolution to hire administrative consultant for the city of Bogalusa relative to the Louisiana Community Development Block Grant Clearance Program. So basically what this is, the city will hire administrators to help govern this. And it says here, it certifies that it will pay all of the administrative costs associated with the implementation of this program. And such costs may include, but not limited to, the preparation fees, audit fees, advertising, publication fees, local staff time, workshops, etc. Mayor, is there anything you want to add to this? Okay.
Need a motion?
Okay, now motions. I make a motion on that.
Motion and second.
Now public participation.
Anybody from the public?
I'm getting there. Anyone from the public wish to comment?
Deborah Carcetti, 764 Marshall Richardson Road. I was one of the unfortunate ones that was not able to get the handout tonight. So could you tell me what this community block development program is? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So all three of these resolutions are required by the state, so they're all part of the same program to tear down the 21 houses, 21 blighted properties.
Anyone else from the public? Council discussion?
James Young, 711 Ontario Avenue, Waite Street. What's going to be the charge per house?
Yes, sir. So
Or will there be a charge?
So the price differs per house based on the structure, based on whether it has asbestos or not, and a bunch of other factors. But the range so far has been, I think, anywhere from $3,500 to $10,000.
Okay, thank you.
Benjamin Lewis, 1913 Riverside Drive, Bogalusa, Louisiana. I'm asking, once these properties are torn down, who owns these properties after they're torn down?
I can comment on that. In fact, that was going to be part of my discussion. Out of the 25 homes, there are 6 from District A, in which my question was if these homes are actually on condemned list, and I do have the names of District A homes, 1314 College Street.
I don't think, I'm not trying to cut you off, but I'm asking the city, after the houses are torn down, that the city tear down, who does that property belong to?
So
Yes.
So the property is adjudicated, so it technically doesn't belong to the city, but
Right.
we are tasked with redistributing it out.
Okay,
And
that
you'll have
property
to talk
can,
with an attorney, but there's a lot of jargon that comes with adjudicated properties, what you can do, what you can't do. But this is just to clear the land so that we can start trying to get more usage out of it.
yes, sir. So anybody can purchase the property? That's in
Yes,
the
sir,
city?
and the city of
That's
Bogalusa
right.
participates in the Green Neighbor Program, which means that if you are next to an adjudicated lot, you have first dibs at purchasing it. And most of the time, I think there's a stipulation where if you have been mowing and keeping it up for a certain amount of time, that lowers the entry into getting the property.
Thank you for my answer. Appreciate it.
Fake Trail, 1931 DeWitt Place. How soon will it start? That's what I like to know. How soon will it start?
Well, the good
tearing these
news
houses
is,
down?
the good news is that we've already started tearing down houses. We've torn down 3 in partnership with Bogalusa Rebirth. We plan to tear down more because we have $200,000 in our demolition budget line. But I am, off the top of my head, I'm unsure about when we'll hear back about this grant.
One more thing. When you all start tearing down again, please get 3 off Sullivan Drive. Let that be your first stop, please. Okay? Because I ride down Sullivan Drive every day and I'm tired of looking at them without their house. Thank you.
Anyone else? Council discussion?
Yes. Mr. Fate, unfortunately, on the new list, we don't have the 3 that you're referring to on Sullivan Drive, but, hopefully we'll aim, along with the administration and the mayor, to make sure that those houses are added if allowed to be. And also, for the third, for clarification, what he's getting ready to introduce is basically the payment through the PECC, which just introduces the payment and how it's broken down for the citizens could have more clarification of how we have it all broken down. But if y'all can look in your packet on page, they don't have the page, but 6 pages back, it shows you the list of properties that are added to the list 1 through 25. So that way, everyone to see the properties that are already added to the list.
And my additional comment is that, as I was proceeding with Reverend Lewis, is that there are 6 properties, just for transparency purposes, in District A, which would be 1025 North Wall Street, 1107 Ann Street, 1314 College Street, 1208 Ann Street, 931 Lincoln Street, and 608 Virginia. Those are the 6 so far within District A. And I will be checking the condemnation listing to ensure that they may be on the condemnation list, and I'll be getting with our code enforcer to make sure that the property owners have been notified of these properties being demolished.
So I can speak to that. The property owners have been notified. We actually sent out an extra letter than what is required by state law.
Exactly.
The reason these properties are on there because we picked ones that are already condemned for the sake of time to meet the deadline for the grant. So there will be more condemnations forthcoming, but this is just to get the ball rolling.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Smith?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cates?
Aye.
Councilwoman Keys?
Aye.
Councilman Irvin?
Aye.
Vice President Douglas?
Aye. The next resolution will be introduced by Councilman Irvin.
Can everybody hear me back there? All right, I'm gonna try to go slow on this. Resolution, this is a very important part of this. This is the third and final part. Resolution authorizing the mayor to sign application relative to the Louisiana Community Development Block Grant Clearance Program. Whereas the city of Bogalusa is submitting an application for the FY, that's fiscal year 2023, Louisiana Community Development Block Grant Clearance Program for the removal of slum blighted properties, and the city will receive points towards the application for prior approval to demolish the structures included in the application. The city of Bogalusa has the proper ordinances in place. Be it resolved that the city of Bogalusa has a list of properties and includes the following structures as a part of the application. Here are the addresses, the 25 addresses. 1025 North Royal, 1107 Ann Street, 1314 College Street, 1208 Ann Street, 931 Lincoln Street, 1406 Dan Street, 800 Main Street, 1303 Dan Street, 1417 Warren Street, 1104 Front Street, 1306 North Avenue, 1000 Warren Street, 1515 Van Buren Street, 1517 Van Buren Street, 1220 Redwood Avenue, 1100 Davenport Avenue, 608 Virginia Avenue, 1109 Jefferson Street, 1041 Avenue D, that's D as in David, 806 Avenue H, 846 Avenue G, 608 Avenue H, 1537 Avenue E, 709 Avenue B, that's B as in boy, 7 that's D as in dog. That concludes the list in this ordinance. Back to you, Madam Vice President.
Motion.
I make a motion.
Second.
Anyone from the public?
Faith Trails, 1931 DeWitt. I've been coming here for the last 4 years complaining about those houses on Dewood, what I just spoke on a few minutes ago. I don't hear none of those addresses on that list. So I am really disgusted with what I'm hearing. So let's please get those at the top of the list, because I've been asking for this for 4 years. Thank you.
Short question, that sounds like a good thing, anytime we can get some grants.
Name and address?
J. Quinn, 220 Bill Street, Little Buffalo, Bogalusa, Louisiana. Anyway, we get grants, usually good. With that, for $200,000, we're looking at for these, tear these houses down. Did somebody say something about 200,000? Okay. What percentage of whatever that is will we have to pay back?
We're seeking a grant. We're seeking a grant. We're seeking a grant.
We'll have to pay a percentage back on grant?
We do have, we'll probably have to pay a percentage, but
That's
Mayor,
what I'm
I think
saying.
wants to expand on that.
We better be able to afford it. Not this one, in general. Of these grants, we've got to be able to afford those grants.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Usually, the maximum grant on the maximum match requirement on these type of grants is normally 20%. That'll help us out tremendously because they take care of 80% of the cost, and we're able to tear down more houses after this. So this is just the start.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Joseph Darrell Smith, 1018 West 10th Street. Can anybody on either the council or the mayor's office speak on how these houses? To the gentleman that spoke 2 times ago, he was talking about his properties weren't on the list and they're on Sullivan Drive. So it seems to me that those properties are high visibility, people coming through the city. So how do y'all prioritize which of these 25 got picked? Is it divided between the councils? Is it first come, first serve? What is the process to select these 25 houses versus other houses?
Yes, sir. So we tried to be fair about where the houses are placed geographically. Again, a lot of houses that we know need to be torn down, they haven't been condemned, so we cannot submit it. We cannot submit them in the application because you have to condemn the house first. So in the sake of not wanting to miss the opportunity to apply for this grant, we used the houses that we already had condemned.
Deborah Garcetti, 764 Marshall Richardson Road. I'm not sure where this particular house is in the process, and I'm sure y'all are all aware of it, and I'm just pushing for it to get listed for demolition as soon as we possibly can. And it's the one just up from Zesto's, like north of Zesto's, next to the floral shop, that is a dangerous situation. That house is burnt completely up and ready to fall down. And if any kids go up in there, they're gonna get hurt. So I'm hoping that it's been condemned already and can make it onto the next list. Thank you.
Name and address.
Deborah Johnson, 1013 South Dolphin. Now, in the process of tearing those homes down, are you all gonna do like they done 10 years ago, dig a big old hole and bury it in the ground? As a result, my land is caving in and it's a hazard, and I had gone over to the city several times to tell them about it, to come fill it in. No one hadn't responded to me telling me.
No, ma'am.
So are you gonna haul that off once you all tear it down?
Yes, ma'am. It all has to be hauled off. It's going to be hauled to the parish landfill out on Choctaw Road. What is your address, and I can have Public Works reach out to you?
1013 South Dolphin. And I have been over there several times. Where is, she know who I'm looking for. One where at the Waterville place. I come over there several times telling you guys about that home, that house. Oh, there she is back over there. You. I have been over there several times telling you about that house, that they dug a big old hole and buried the house in the ground, and as a result, the land is sinking. You supposed to be sending somebody there. I haven't seen anyone.
Ms. Johnson,
I thought so. Okay.
Ms. Johnson, that's my district, so I'll work with the mayor to ensure.
I don't know who my counsel is, because I haven't seen someone in 8 years or 4 years,
I'm
how
the
whatever.
counsel.
You need to get over
I'm the
there in
council
Richland County and
person.
do something.
And my number is public, and so if you
I
need
haven't
me, have
seen
to
you
call
since
me.
you've been a councilman.
If I don't know of a concern, I cannot address a concern. I have to know in order for me to address it.
Council discussion.
I will tell you about this. I am ecstatic that I love it, that at least some houses are getting tore down. The biggest hangup that I want everybody to understand, it's not the mayor, it's not the council, it's coming into DEQ compliance to make sure the houses don't contain asbestos and send that stuff flying everywhere. Not every house has asbestos in it. Everybody's freaked out every time a house gets torn down. Not every house has asbestos. It has to be tested for it before it's torn down. But I love it. Now my question is on here, and I do not want to sound selfish. I just have a question. The two addresses on 1515 Van Buren and 1517 Van Buren are in District E, so is 1109 Jefferson Street, which I'm pretty sure I know where that's at. That 1515, isn't that already City of Bogalusa owned, and that was part of the airport expansion? Because their airport took in 3 houses, and they are dilapidated, and I know all the way back to councilmen, way back in the day, before Sherry Fortenberry, everybody, these have been put on the list. And is that what that is in the 1500 block?
I believe so.
Okay. Because
yes,
those
sir.
are already city owned, supposed to be, City of Bogalusa owned.
They are.
Outright, yeah. I was just wondering about that.
I believe so as well, Mr. Mark Irvin, and it was during the time when Miss Robin Day filled in.
Yeah,
And
that's-
she said as the council lady at large, that she actually had that taking place, so you're absolutely right.
So y'all now see how far back this goes. All right.
And
Thank you.
I would like to make a comment to Mr. Smith's inquiry on the selection. As I indicated earlier, and as the mayor has indicated, some of these houses have been condemned, and the condemned
mic's not working here.
Thank you, Mr. Clyde. Can everybody hear me? Did everyone hear my first comments? You want me to repeat? Okay, first everybody heard the first comments? Okay. The next ordinance is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract between the city of Bogalusa, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract between the city of Bogalusa and Citus Development Collective LLC for the Bogalusa Community Center Emergency Shelter Planning and Construction. This was discussed thoroughly at our next council meeting. It's been a long time since the city of Bogalusa has been working on getting this type of facility in place, and we look forward to it, and I will discuss in detail at our next.
Make sure that all the paperwork and the documents are signed to establish a grant to provide for the revision for the system. Just to make sure that the agreement is signed between the mayor as well as the administration for the division of
Quick to you, Mike.
You might want to move the mic closer.
What's your question? Sorry. I can't hear what you're saying. I introduced the ordinance that's gonna be, read in full detail on next, so for LAGP, look at grants.
Okay, moving right along. Public hearings and adoptions of ordinance. And that ordinance will be brought to you by Councilwoman Keys.
It's an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Bogalusa to enter into a contract with Bills of the Vows Architects LLC for the renovations of City Hall. And I think they kind of speak for it.
Can I get a motion?
I make a motion.
You all can approach the podium.
Public participation.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, sir, you can approach.
Bills, I'm sorry.
And I hope I didn't slaughter your name. How do you pronounce it?
My name is Armand. My partner is Gerald Billis, but Mr. Billis is having a little outpatient procedure today, so I'm going to speak on his behalf. Jerry and I have been acquainted for probably 25 years. We have two companies, Billis Architects. Jerry's an architect, first African-American to finish from Tulane School of Architecture. He also has a master's in architecture and urban planning from MIT. Jerry's practiced architecture, you'll probably be mad at me saying this, but probably approaching 50 years. So many of the things in New Orleans that if you guys get to New Orleans, he's played a major part in designing. I also brought a small snippet of his resume for each of the council members and for the community at large to peruse if necessary. I'm actually his partner in Citus Development Collective, the introduction, the resolution you introduced earlier. I'm sorry, ma'am? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, so any questions you have about the renovation of City Hall, I'm happy to answer them. In my former life, I represented the HDLC in New Orleans. Jerry has done, gosh, probably hundreds of millions in historic renovations. He's been successful in getting historic tax credits for historic projects in the past with the National Park Service, as well as with SPHC, the State Historic entity. I keep forgetting that acronym. But so, you know, we're very excited about the prospects of helping you to renovate City Hall, address the ADA issues with the bathrooms, and whatever else the council and the mayor may need regarding the renovation of City Hall. If there's any questions from the council, the mayor, or the community, I'd be happy to ask. And again, like I said, I brought some of Jerry's resumes from Billis Architects. I'm just a dumb country lawyer person who does the financing and that sort of stuff. Jerry's a brilliant designer, again, like I said, with decades of experience in historic projects. Just for instance, if you know Whole Foods in New Orleans, the historic Arabella Station, Jerry did that. He also did the first phases of the convention center. He did parts of the aquarium, probably a $300 million renovation of the Superdome. The historic projects are really way too many to mention. I actually refer you to look at the resumes that I brought in. That is only a snippet of his resume, which in one of the presentations we had was probably 40 pages long. So I won't bore you with all of his accolades, but if you go to the website or you go to our website at sdcllc.dev, you can see a lot of, you know, what we've done, what he's done at Billis Architects. So thank you for the opportunity. We look forward to working with each and every one of you. And again, please use us as a resource. We have spent a lot of time doing historic projects and lots of other projects. So we both have a wealth of knowledge with historic buildings. And we came up to visit with the mayor a couple of weeks ago, and we did tour the annex as well as City Hall. We toured the bathrooms, and so we're already familiar with what's going to be required, and we're just looking forward to get started. Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
I do have a question for you.
Sure.
Are you aware that the building, this structure here is on the National Historical Registry?
We are.
Okay, I was just want to make sure you're aware of it.
Jerry's actually, when he lived in Algiers Point, most of you guys are probably familiar with Algiers Point, the oldest settled part of New Orleans. He was president of the Algiers Point Historic Association. He actually got Algiers Point listed on the National Registry. Again, like I said, plenty of experience with the National Park Service and historic buildings. And Jerry is a researcher, and he's a detail-oriented guy. So when we did come up and tour the property with the mayor, we were able to get lots of pictures, and we've already done some research into the building and its history. So we're quite aware, and again, I think you'll be pleased with the suggestions and the ideas that we have. Some that are contemplated by this particular project, and some that, as the mayor knows, I like to surprise him with things. We've actually done some additional research. So maybe there'll be some unique things that we can possibly do some additional stuff to this really historic structure.
And I'd like to add that they come well referred. When I asked around who's the best, who do I need to talk to, they all pointed me this way. They're also working on a huge project in New Orleans for their government, which I don't know if I'm at liberty to talk about today, but they check out. They check every box, and they're willing to work within the parameters of the capital outlay money that we have received, and I'm honored to have them in Bogalusa.
Have y'all did any projects here locally in Bogalusa area?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and y'all are all from the New Orleans area?
I'm born and raised in New Orleans. Jerry is actually from Tuskegee, Alabama. And as I said, he came to New Orleans to go to Tulane as an undergraduate. When he finished Tulane, he went to graduate school at MIT, but the weather ran him back to New Orleans. So he's been in New Orleans. Now, in terms of where we've done projects nationally, internationally, pretty much all over the country, Jerry's done projects all over the world. Most of my work has been contained in the southeastern United States, although I did, in a former iteration, work for a national company, and we did work in about 18 states around the nation. But Jerry's got a project right now going on in Gambia, so he gets around.
Does he have any projects currently in New Orleans going on at this time?
None that we can talk about. But yeah, we're working on several things. But again, on the development side, Jerry's got tons of architectural things that he's involved in. On the development side, part and parcel of what we do is confidential. Confidentiality is everything. But I can tell you this, I can tell you dollar amounts. We like all types of projects. So we're working on projects that range from a couple $100,000 to a couple $100 million. So we, again, if you go to the website, you can see aspects of our work. As a matter of fact, if you give me a second. Great city of Bogalusa. But we did do, we competed to redevelop Six Flags. It's easier to talk about the ones that we didn't get versus the ones that we're working on because, again, we have confidentiality agreements concerning most of those. But that gives you an idea of what we're capable of. So that is a complete redevelopment for Six Flags. To be quite honest, the reason I brought that is because the mayor has mentioned some things, some ideas that you guys have for this great city, and we have some ideas relating to how we can help with some of the blighted housing, how we can bring some capital to the city to do affordable housing and the like. So we're pretty skilled at working through urban planning issues, and we do everything from, like, the last couple of years, we've probably built help participate in about 15 schools in the school rebuilding program in New Orleans. So I could give you the names of all of those schools if you like, but the average project size was about 35 million. So yeah, those we can talk about. Some of the things we're working on now, municipal projects, I can't really say, but let's just say we're working on a couple of large municipal projects for city agencies in the city. But again, our experience runs the gamut. You know, we've done some model designs for affordable housing, and I know that's an issue here as it is in New Orleans. And so we're working on some things like that and some things with some nonprofits. We typically put, like I say, on our website, we put things that we can talk about, but most things we can't.
Okay, very knowledgeable. And doing these renovations, would the court really be disrupted? Like,
we're going to phase it in a way that will minimally be intrusive to the operations of city government. I cannot tell you that there won't be any inconveniences because in renovations, they always are. But certainly, we're going to do our best to minimize its impact on the day-to-day operations of city government.
okay, thank you, because it was recently renovated and
Thank you.
And I'd also like to add that I've met with a lot of different architects. And this firm, actually, the reason why we're moving forward on the community center is because the state has been promised the city this money, but our problem was we didn't have the $2 million match. These guys met with me one time. They came back to tour the city hall, and they gave me a letter of intent from a municipal banking firm that they're going to loan us the $2 million so that we can move forward to build our community center.
Public participation, anyone? Over here.
Onita Graham, 110 Graham Drive. I don't see a copy of the contract in my. Onita Graham, 110 Graham Drive, Bogalusa. I don't see a copy of that contract in my packet. I was wondering what is the money amount on this contract?
Yes, ma'am. I was looking. I don't see it either, but it's $280,000. I believe our match with the state is 20%, but that money will come out of the municipal building funds.
Thank you.
Terry Quinn, 220 Bill Bogalusa, they raised it up. Thank you for your comment, Mark, because I'm very concerned about the destruction of our historic buildings here in Bogalusa, one being the City Hall. Thank God for Bernie Brennan and the Coke plant and the railroad. A few people are trying to do some right things instead of wrong things. And last of all, the $2 million that we can borrow, who's gonna pay that back?
The city will pay it back.
The city, I am the city, I'm a taxpayer.
Right, so you're gonna help pay it
Just like
back.
when the state brought in Mr. Richard in here to tell us what to do.
Behind everybody else. It's time for us to put our heads in the right place and go with this community center. When I came here, I tried to get a Boys and Girls Club in Bogalusa. We didn't have to match for $75,000. Couldn't get nobody to go along with it. $75,000 wasn't anything for Boys and Girls Club. Look what you got to pay now, over $200,000. So it's time to get our heads out of the gutter and go with this community center. And please, let's put it in a good location so it can be visible. Don't that's all I ask. Thank you.
Madam President, we are discussing City Hall.
Yeah, we're discussing renovations at City Hall.
Charlotte Johnson, 620 Georgia Avenue, Bogalusa. As a real estate agent in this community, I welcome what you guys are wanting to do to City Hall. What you're wanting to do in the community, we are behind. We're very, very far behind. City Hall reflects that. Everything about our community reflects how far behind we are. We're behind, and I know a little bit about the Billis Foundation because of the lead award. So I know a little bit about that, and I like the House of Lewis too, I will say that. So we're blessed, I think, to have people want to come in at this level and take an interest in what happens in our city. You guys know I don't always agree with everything, but man, I agree with getting us out there in front of people that make things happen. So.
Good evening, Jennifer Stevenson, 2775 South Columbia Street. The gentleman, can't hear me? Jennifer Stevenson, 2775 South Columbia Street. The gentleman mentioned Algiers Point, and I actually am very familiar with Algiers Point. I worked in a building at the foot of the Algiers Ferry Landing, the Dry Dock Cafe. The building is so old, nobody knows how old it actually is. And the amount of rules and regulations going into renovating anything in Algiers Point is stringent. So for him to be able, for this company to be able to do that is impressive to me. And that's all I had to say.
Debbie Corsetti, 764 Marshall Richardson Road. I just have a couple of quick questions about the time frame that this might commence and how many, I know Mr. Billis is like got a great CV and all, but how many other architects are in your firm?
So
Billis Architects, Jerry and I do more development. So in the past, he's had 30, right now it's just Jerry. And so what we do in terms of how we do projects, this is a small project and we have a limited budget, so we're keeping it in-house, okay? So when we do our larger projects, because we're on the development side, we tend to work, for this particular project, it will be done in-house.
Okay, by Mr. Billis.
By Mr. Billis. And we will use means to minimize the cost. This particular project for building, pre-pandemic, cost of construction materials skyrocketed. The budget that we're working with, I believe, is $280, of which $9,400 of that goes to administration back to the state. With a building of this size and in our initial walkthrough, we have to do everything we can to put that value into the building. So the small one we're doing in-house.
Okay.
Yeah, and certainly, this is not something, Jerry's handled projects much larger by himself, but size, staffing is not an issue for us.
Okay, so even though he's got projects going on all over in Kelowna and everywhere, he's still gonna fit this little project in there?
We're only 16 miles away.
Okay.
Yeah, we're only 16 miles away.
So this
Yeah.
isn't something like way down the road, huh?
No, ma'am, we're going to start when Mr. Mayor, I think like now.
When he gets
Once
his
once this is
approval, probably.
approved,
Yeah.
so once this is approved, we submit it to the state and they drop our funds and we'll be ready to roll.
Awesome, thank you.
I would just like to say thank you, Mr. Wendell, you were very knowledgeable, and, thank you for having the time to come down to meet with us, to actually explain everything in person. And even though you're 68 miles away, and you did say y'all will be working rapidly, just concerned of the court situation to make sure that the judge and the citizens who come to court are not left in the war room for too long. So I definitely appreciate you, and even though you didn't introduce yourself, but nice to meet you as well, ma'am.
I'm sorry, please forgive me. This is Tom Renee Ferguson. She's a consultant to us. She's the founder of a company called CSXBT, and she's a web developer, graphics person. She produces things like you've seen. If you look at our website, she designed our website. And so on the larger project, the one you introduced today, we typically use her to create a web portal so that the citizens and the council and the mayor can track our progress. That's one of the things that's unique about our company, is that when we do projects, we have an in-house web portal where you can give access to anyone you want, and you can track the progress of a project. It's also how we update the council and the mayor monthly, because in our contracts, we have to give you monthly updates. And so we always include her from the beginning because she keeps us organized, and she facilitates communications with our clients. So that's why I dragged her up here today with, considering how busy she is, we were able to get her to come up today so she can get an understanding of what we're going to be working on, so.
Thank you, wish you safe travels back.
I would like to say, Mr. Chairman, I did have opportunity to view your website, and it's very exciting to see Six Flags, Jazzland, an array of projects that we had. And also, it indicates here that you can be providing short and long-term employment opportunities. So, Bogalusa will be looking forward to that. It's feasible to be working with you on that. And I'm so elated that we did receive House Bill, announced this once, House Bill 2 for City Hall renovation, and it's payable $230,000. And I noticed that your budget is $280,000, so that's a little shy.
Yes, ma'am, because our match is 50,000, so it brings the total up to 280.
Yes. So the majority, the point being, the majority of these funds are being paid by the state, which I believe the governor signed off on it already.
Councilwoman Smith? Aye. Councilwoman Cates?
Aye.
Councilwoman Keys. Aye. Councilman Urban.
Aye.
Vice President Douglas.
Aye. The next ordinance, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to approve the city of Bogalusa Beautification Commission.
Make a motion.
One second.
Anyone from the public?
So I can introduce it. So the Beautification Commission, this is akin to what some other cities do. Basically, starting out, we would ask the commission to help us take care of major thoroughfares throughout the city. Being a commission, they would be part of the city, but they're independent in the fact that they can raise their own funds. Hopefully, they'll do a fundraiser to help us get some new welcome signs around town. So, yes.
No public council discussion?
I do have council discussion. The commission will serve as an advisory board for capacity only. And this is a volunteer board, for the beautification of the city of Bogalusa.
Vote by roll call.
Councilwoman Smith.
Aye.
I said that. Vote by roll call.
Councilwoman Smith.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cates.
Aye.
Councilwoman Keys.
Aye.
Councilman Urban.
Aye.
Vice President Douglas.
Aye.
Ms. Cates. You do Ms. Temples.
Our next ordinance will be introduced by Councilwoman Smith.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a general service agreement between the city of Bogalusa and Brenda's Vending, providing ATM services to the city of Bogalusa. And what this ordinance introduces, basic explanatory, is ATM services to be used within the city. It's been brought to the council several times, and we're gonna vote on it tonight.
Make a motion.
Need a second.
Okay, it has been motioned and second. Any public participation?
Yes, ma'am. Brian Genco, 1829 George Mitchell. Good evening. Can anyone from the council or the administration please explain to me why this ATM issue keeps coming up? It's failed 4 times. It went from the Bogalusa City Hall and then went to the services for the city of Bogalusa. That's a bit much. Can anyone please explain to me why that it goes from the city hall and then to the city of Bogalusa? What is that? So you're putting someone out of business? That's personal. That's a personal attack. So I'm just asking, how did it go from City Hall, from the RFP proposal, to the city of Bogalusa? Can anyone explain that to me?
I can speak on that. So
I'm
this
sure
was
you
one
will.
of our first requests for proposals. We were unaware that there was an ATM machine at the city jail, so that's the reason why we added it. But I'd also like to clarify for the public. My administration has been in touch with the Louisiana Legislative Auditors, and their recommendation has been that being that this is a service being provided to the citizens and not to the city is not reaping a service. The ATM is not providing a service to the city. This was not required to be done via RFP. We were only required to bring a contract to the council to be signed. So I get the technicality argument that you brought multiple times, but the fact of the matter is we didn't even have to put out an RFP. So council, I'm gonna politely ask that you all vote on this. And you can also reach out to Louisiana Legislative Auditors. Let me find the lady's name so that she can verify with you.
Attorney Chalet.
Yes, her name is Jennifer Shea from the Louisiana Legislative Auditors, and she's more than happy to speak with any of you.
Okay. Mayor, if that's the case, you didn't have to bid it. Why are you bringing it to the city council? And second of all, the vending machine, the Coke machine, it's never been brought up before the council or RFP. Why has that never been brought to the city council? If you don't have to vote on it, if they don't have to vote on it, why are you bringing it to the council now? Out of respect? Well, let's give them some respect about the candy machine and the Coca-Cola machine.
Yes, sir.
I mean, let's be honest. You said, let's be fair. Let's be fair. Why hasn't it all been brought up? And this has also been brought up multiple times,
With
Mayor.
all due respect, I think if we're being honest here, you're bringing your qualms with another businessman to the city. We are doing well. We are doing what is within our right. We have followed the letter of the law. That's all we can do. Regarding concession machines, those were here when we got here. They left because we had to redo the flooring to take the asbestos.
No, sir, I
out.
disagree. My machines were there also with the last administration. I have a valid, for about the fifth time, a valid occupation license to do business in the city of Bogalusa. I said from day one, I don't care who gets it. I have no qualm. We was with each other 3 weeks ago, Mayor. I have no qualm with him. And whoever you're speaking about, I have no idea. My crime with you and everybody else is that I said that from day one, I just want it to be done right. I don't care who gets it. I really don't care. But
Yes,
I said
sir.
I was going to hold,
Well,
excuse me, in all due respect, Mayor. I
Yes,
just
sir,
said
you
I was
cut
going
me
to.
off, though. You did cut me off.
I didn't cut
So
you
with all
off.
due respect, I'm going to take the floor back. According to the state, we did not have to put out an RFP. So the fact that we did so, we were going beyond the letter of the law. Now that we know what the letter of the law entails, I'm going to respectfully ask for the council to take a vote.
With respect, why, once again, I have a valid, I don't care who gets it. That's all I'm asking. Have a valid Well, mine was cut off. I'd like to have my thing if that's all. Order of report. This gentleman is out of order.
Hold on, I just asked him.
Okay, you should be.
I just asked him.
He has to be removed forcibly. He should be removed. And I should too, but I'm sitting down.
Excuse me.
The only council discussion that I have is that, yes, this afternoon in our finance meeting, there was a, opinion read from, the legislative auditors on this matter with RFPs. And my only discussion, and have always been my concern in dealing with ATMs, is that, our prior, avenue insight and analysis indicated who, within this packet actually had the ATM, the ATM accounts, and who did not have an ATM account. Now, my suggestion, if this is voted upon as is, that we give a timeline for, a contract, a license, or something that's come forth for this particular ordinance should be null and void, because it's already not in place. And as far as the vending machines are concerned, yes, the vending machines did not come forth with the That's my own suggestion, because, I mean, we do need to do something with it, because it's been since, I did my timeline since May, I believe, when it started. When this started, we had a court proceeding that prevented us from sharing some of this information to the public, but we do need to take some type, I agree, some type of action tonight. That's all. Thank you.
And I understand your concern, and I agree with it. I think that the council should amend to add that before the contract is signed, that we be presented with an ATM license from Brennan's Vending.
Okay, for the record, thank you. Ms. Brenda. And a timeline be within 30 days. Suggestion.
Are we writing that in, or where,
We're
how are
gonna
you gonna do that?
vote for it, then amend it. Councilwoman Smith?
Within the timeline, if Lila can bring back before the council with the proper paperwork, then definitely to be in accordance with the FRP. At this time, I'll say nay.
Councilwoman Cates?
We do need to do something with it. And we do know, excuse me, we do need to do something with it. And needs to be done expeditiously. There has to be a timeline in, because we're looking at who has the license and who doesn't have the license. So, with that being said, and with the legislative auditors, not the legislative auditors, yes, the legislative auditors' comment and opinion this afternoon, I go yes.
Councilwoman Keys?
Councilman Irvin? We have an ATM across the street over there at Federal Credit, the Fireman's Credit Union. We also have a Paystar machine that we put in back in January. I think they're both working fine. I vote nay on any ATMs.
Vice President Douglas?
Aye.
I make a motion to amend this vote. I make a motion to amend this vote.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Okay, I need a motion.
Made a motion to amend. Okay, this motion. Days.
I'm confused. Are you amending the actual ordinance to provide for Brennan's Vending having 30 days?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis, name and address.
1913 Riverside, Benjamin Lewis. I'm just asking, is there a vote just taken?
Yes,
Okay.
but it was
Can a vote be stopped and an amendment taken in the middle of a vote?
So they finished voting and now they're voting to amend.
Okay.
There's some people talking behind us. What does that exactly mean? You have 30 days to find someone that's got a license, is that correct?
He has 30 days to produce a license.
So what's any different than anybody else in here providing a license? Why can't anyone else in here?
30 days to produce a license.
Yeah, but can anybody produce a license? Why is it just one company? Is it just one company or is it for any company?
No, that's just because they have, apparently have voted on this. They're amending it to hold his feet to the fire to produce a occupational license for ATM, what they're doing.
So you can go rob the bank, you don't need collars, okay?
Don't kill the messenger.
I understand.
Yeah.
So we're giving someone 30 days to provide.
That could be done in the morning.
30 days, from today.
Yeah. And it's automatic given to that one person. What about the snack and the dinner? That's a done deal? That been voted on? I'm just asking that. Yeah, I understand, they can, but what about the vending and Coca-Cola?
I'm gonna go ahead and say something. I'm gonna go ahead and say this. When you submit anything to the city of Bogalusa, you're supposed to have your occupational license in hand. It takes you only 2 seconds to go down there Public Works and print off a freaking occupational license and slap that in $50. I think I might go get one.
Before we got a hand, it was awarded. Okay. The mayor awarded it. If you read your agenda, that's how. So with that being said, this is the safeguard that the council has put in place for that. Unless the council, anyone else objects to 30 days.
I got another question.
No, sir. No, sir.
May I speak, man? Back and get up. I've been over.
I think that there should be a subject brought up too also about the sales tax. All the Coca-Colas and the candy bars and those alcohol machines too. There should be a question about that.
Well, we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
It's required by city ordinance. What's your question about that? Go ahead, proceed.
Councilwoman Smith? Nay. Councilwoman Cates? Aye. Councilwoman Keys? Aye. Councilman Urban?
No.
Vice President?
Put your mic right there. Line up in your mouth.
An ordinance establishing a code compliance volunteer program. And with this ordinance, the code enforcement will be able to receive, services as far as help, to complete some of the work orders within the city.
So this code compliance program, basically, the city would solicit volunteers to help us enforce codes. What we have a lot of citizens that call up here weekly. Oh, this person is breaking code, they need to go clean their yard up. Well, now we want you all to come help. You don't have to call us anymore, you can come be sworn in and help us write citations. It's time to clean the city up. This is just another way to do it.
And also, it's a free volunteer services, so therefore you will not be able to get paid. So we will appreciate all the help.
Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak?
Member Garcetti, 764 Marshall Richardson Road. Just wondering what the requirements are for the volunteers to be eligible.
Sarah Benamato, 630 Avenue D. I'm just wondering why we skipped over.
I'm going back to
So just clarification about what these volunteers can and can't do. I mean, it sounds a little scary if you're a homeowner to think that people are just gonna go wandering around and write up a citation on your property. I know that that's not the case, but it would be really nice if you guys just kind of go over the process and what the limitations are.
Can you see the mic up tonight?
Better? Not better? Better? Okay. Can you go over the limitations on what volunteers can and can't do so that people don't need to worry about revenge, citations or whatever, and how that's gonna work, so we can talk about that tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am, I can speak to that. So basically, before you can even write your first citation, you have to undergo appropriate training provided by the Office of Community Development to understand the relevant city codes and regulations. At completion of the training, volunteers will receive an identification card from the city. Most of these volunteers will be rotated throughout the week, so it's not going to be 5 people out on the street at the same time randomly coming up to you to write a citation. Starting out, most volunteers will ride along with our code enforcement officers until the Office of Community Development is sure that they understand what they're supposed to be doing. So it's not going to be a free-for-all, everybody walking up to your property trying to write you a ticket.
Yeah, I got council discussion. While it has good intent, Mr. Cordero and Dustin do a great job, and they're paid staff members. We hold their feet to the fire as citizens, and they do answer to us. And trust me, they've been doing their job, doing a good job, and I'm very proud of them. But on the other hand, be careful about this. Not saying that anything against the current administration. This was brought up in the last administration too. Code enforcement can be used for a political weapon. And we don't live in an HOA. We live in a free society. I believe Mr. Cordero and Dustin do a fine job. They keep track of everything. If they have to go to court, they'll go before the court and answer any questions about the particular code enforcement violations, and they're very extremely professional. Thank you very much.
My only council discussion is the liability of volunteers. From what I understand, they would sign off on a waiver. Not saying anyone's going to go out there and get it purposely, but that was my main concern about volunteers coming on board with the city.
And I do have council discussion. It would be a great thing for the volunteers to actually sign off on the waiver as well as to get the experience. So therefore, it won't be used as a political weapon, that they're actually knowledgeable before they walk onto private property. But as the mayor stated, it will be a good thing instead of persons always complaining. And when Mr. Cordero can fulfill those orders in a timely manner, that we can do less complaining and step up and help.
You have a good point about that, but I want to tell you, I just have my intuitions, and I stop trusting my head and my heart and my gut, and that's when I start making right decisions, but that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Smith,
Aye.
Councilwoman Cates,
Aye.
Councilwoman Keys, Councilman Irvin,
Nay.
Vice President Douglas.
I do apologize, I skipped over an ordinance, and that ordinance is going to be funded for Councilman Irvin.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me. A ordinance to amend Article IV, Division 2 of the City of Bogalusa to provide the operation of a food truck within the city limits of Bogalusa. Now, I think we had we're going to do an amendment after this, so follow us along. First off, the proposed changes. Before we get any further, the proposed changes is as follows. Bottom line in English, the food truck is currently sitting at about $1,500 a year, $1,500 a year to have a food truck in the city of Bogalusa. That's a motor coach. That's an enclosed vehicle. That is not a trailer. Trailers aren't allowed, and it's not even being discussed tonight. That's not what's being discussed. Only the fees are being discussed. The proposed changes are to change it to $400 and additional fees on here inside of the thing, but we will later amend it to be $800. I believe we come into agreement that $800 is more fair because we need to raise revenue for the city, and this is in order to attract food trucks into the city. Apparently there are some that's wanting to come into the city to try it out. We have had no bites. When I say no bites, we have nobody that's been interested in it since 2019, since they've done it, and the mayor recommended the changes. So therefore, I guess what we'll have to do is I'm going to make a motion that we, you'll read the ordinance as follows. Yeah, second.
Second.
Yeah, I made a motion and somebody
Second.
seconded it.
Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak?
So just to introduce this, our current fee is $1,500. We set it at $400 because that's the city of New Orleans rate. And if you are a food truck owner, if you have to pay $400 to go to a huge city with a lot of walkability, or a smaller town and pay $15, we haven't seen anybody here. So this is in an effort. My office has worked with the council to lower the fee to $800. That's about almost half of what it is now. I think it's a decent compromise for right now. So that's the background.
Charlotte Johnson, 620 Bridge Avenue. So it's a little misspoken, with the exception of Samir, I'm sorry, that New Orleans fee is only $400 because that's not true. I actually was on planning and zoning when we brought together the food truck stuff before. I posted this morning on Facebook a list of ordinances from the other cities. I went through Biloxi, I went through New Orleans, I went through Texas, which has a lot of food trucks and everything that everybody requires of those food trucks. There are 5 different permits that are required, not just a permit from the city of Bogalusa. There is an additional 1% sales tax that's charged to food and beverage sales. There are the fact that everybody has to be certified through food safety handling, who works the food truck. There is the fact that the food truck cannot actually be used for cooking. The majority of places have the food truck has to be food that is manufactured in a brick and mortar restaurant that has been distributed via the food truck. Okay, so there's a whole long list of different requirements that are out there for food trucks in the surrounding areas, including Biloxi and New Orleans. New Orleans, you can't have a food truck in the French Quarter. You cannot have a food truck within 600 feet of a brick and mortar restaurant. You cannot have a food truck longer than 30 minutes in any one space. You can go through a whole list of things in there, as well as the fees are much higher than what they are. We're selling ourselves short. It's not going to bring us in revenue. It's going to bring us in people who don't want to follow the rules in other places. Okay, it's going to cheapen what we are. I'm all for food trucks. I'm all for bringing, you guys know I'm all for bringing new economy into the city. And we have to believe that our city is more valuable than that. We can't just let people, we're sitting here asking for volunteer code enforcement, which I think is awesome. I've asked for that myself. I actually brought that up in planning and zoning, that we needed to have something like that because there was just too much for 1 or 2 people to take care of. And when it comes to the food trucks, with that situation like that, we need to make certain that we can enforce the ordinances that we have. And we are a city that does not have enough people to enforce the ordinances that we already have in place for homes and for anything else. How are we going to enforce food trucks? How are we going to make all that stuff happen?
With the code compliance program that we just passed, I do understand your concerns. Most of those concerns are addressed in the ordinance. I don't see the actual ordinance, but I drafted it myself. So I know that a lot of what you mentioned is mentioned in that actual food truck ordinance.
So we have all the different permits in there required?
I know that it's a permit required from, I know it's like 2 different permits required from the city, 1 required from the state health department. I'm unsure about the rest.
Okay.
Sarah Donato, 630 Avenue D. I'm just here to get understanding. I'm new to all this food business stuff. I just recently learned that food truck and food trailer are 2 totally different things. I'm just trying to understand why it's being prevented. No food trailers allowed inside of city limits. What's the difference? The campgrounds, people have trailers, car trailers, race trailers in their front yards inside the city limits. They're not strapped down. So I've had that as an excuse. That's been my excuse of why trailers aren't allowed. And if so, it should have a truck on it. Not everybody wants to stay in one spot. Some of us already have a brick and mortar, and we want to go to events. We want to bring our stuff other places. Or in my instance, I just want my food trailer. I'm trying to put it beside a location, and it's not being allowed because it has to be strapped down. What is the difference in people having stuff at home? I understand the department and all this, but if that's the case, they have their stuff strapped down inside the city limits too?
You should, Miss Charlotte knows that, the food, subject of food trailers went on for 6 months. This is one of the, probably the second or third most researched ordinance in Bogalusa's history. Second, probably second. There's another one that's coming down the pipeline that's the first. But the second most researched, and when we researched it, we looked beyond the city of New Orleans, okay? But however, it is true that we use city of New Orleans as outline. But however, when we drafted so you'll know a little bit of history about it real quick. $1,500 when we drafted it was put on even playing field with restaurants. The restaurants got mad.
The fee is not much.
Yeah, I understand that. But the food trailers would have to be a separate ordinance, and it would have to be put back through planning and zoning for them to discuss it, and then brought back to council for them to discuss that. Now, I'm from the thing, I discussed this with the mayor. I'm not trying to oppose him or confuse the situation tonight, okay? I said leave the fee like it is and open it up to food trailers and be done with it. But however, there's a safety issue that needs to be addressed, and the police department's gonna have to be in that planning and zoning meeting to make sure it is safe for that situation. I'm for allowing the food trailers to be strapped at all times while the serviceability, and there was restaurateurs that did comment after this thing was passed. He said, you'll never get anybody to pay that. But the second you allow food trailers, they're going to be coming out of woodwork. So, and that came from a well-known restaurateur. I'm not going to drag her name into it. Been in the business for many, many years. So I will tell you, I do know for a fact that if it's allowed, this could turn around real easy. And I'm about selling stuff. I want to sell these.
I'm trying to keep my business here because there's other places that will allow my
But we have to also be mindful about safety of farming.
What about the location that is also like Zona, for instance? Zona ATV place?
Go ahead.
So I think what Councilman Urban is saying is that we aren't opposed to food trailers. Look, I want all the food options we can get in town. Me, for one, I'm tired of eating at the same places. I love our local restaurants, but my palate needs something fresh every now and then. So we're not opposed to food trailers, but it's going to take us some time to bring it back up. So I think that's what he's trying to relay.
What about the trailers that are already operating in Washington? Like, I guess it would be the city, but Washington Parish, I know it's different. But say I sit right outside the city limits, I could put that trailer there if I own the property.
Right, as long as you're following the parish's
As long
rules.
as I'm clear. And
Right.
that's what's hurting the city, is I can just step right outside the city limits and go do it. When I can be given the money to here.
The parish has laws and lack of enforcement. So you asked a question about the difference between trailers and food trucks. Food trailers, most communities won't allow a food truck. They allow food trucks because they have to be able to be moved every 30 minutes. Right.
You can't sit an hour.
Unless you own that property.
Unless you own the
Unless you own that property, you will have to move. And you have to be 800 feet away from a local restaurant that's always served. And also another thing, even though we're gonna bring the trailers up, we're working on that, Mark and I, but the thing with it is, like Ms. Charlotte says, it's not just coming to get a permit for City Hall. You're gonna need 5 permits. You're also gonna have to go to the Department of Health, and then you have to go to school.
I know all of it. I'm certified.
Okay, you have to be certified, you have to go to school, you have to pass a state certified test to get those licenses, and everyone that works in there with you has to be state certified.
I've been doing this since 16. I've got I know my list.
Okay, and your trailer has to be locked for safety.
Yes, I have everything. The only thing preventing me is the ordinance not allowing the food trailers.
And when they have events, you're able to, whoever's hosting the event, you're able to bring your trailer there. So they may be charging you $50 to sell something, you just get with whoever's hosting that event, pay your money,
So even
and
if I
then.
don't have a permit right, so I can take my trailer.
But it's a function, it's called, to give you the proper language, since you have all the certifications that you have, and you and I can really talk, and I can meet with you after, but it's considered, when you're in class and before you get your license, it's called a pop-up. So with your pop-up, it has limitations, you're able to do that. But I don't know if you're gonna be leaving, but you and I can exchange numbers, because definitely, if anybody's hosting any event, you can get with that person and you can bring your trailer. Also, you can host the event yourself within the city. Go to City Hall, get your permit, let them know the event that you wanna do, and start reaching out to all the vendors, because you're not the only one that has a trailer. I have one lady, she's not here tonight, but she's well known in the community, very highly involved, and she has a snowball trailer. And whenever those events come up, she paid, and she goes through registration as well as anybody that sells nachos, etc. So, and I commend you for having a trailer and paying that extra money, because I know how expensive it is, and you're just not popping up, selling, doing whatever out of your home.
It's just, I have been renting a location at the moment and building this up. So that's why. It's
And then
not-
another thing too, I would suggest, not to take up so much time, but to go invest in owning that property, and then go through the rules and regulations, so you won't have to move by moving it. So when the Department of Health come out, they will show you exactly everything that you need, from the fire marshal, because they have to come out and inspect as well, and you have to have all the things to meet the fire marshal inspection.
Yeah,
And you have to
I'm
have
clear.
everything, and then make sure that you pay your sales taxes as well as state taxes.
Yes, ma'am. That's the only reason I'm here, is because I was trying to get inside of city limits before I make my final decision and go outside.
Yeah, I love the revenue.
That's why I was trying to be here. So that's all.
Like I said, we love someone, we love someone who wants process. All right, once again, this is the vote on the ordinance as proposed. I'll go ahead and say it, it's proposed by the mayor, and, but we're also going to come back and make an amendment, keep that in mind, if it's passed. Okay. So, I think that the reason why I'm on board with this is to see if, I'm willing to see if the mayor is going to be right about this. I'm willing to listen. I am willing to listen. I know you tried a long time to hear that, but yeah, I'm willing to listen and see if that will work, if this is going to work out.
And for council discussion as well, definitely to be very transparent, with the citizens. This ordinance has already been on the books.
Yeah.
We're just reintroducing it. So for all those who are not aware of it, or hasn't read, or hasn't contacted your councilwoman or councilman, this has already been on the books. Councilwoman Smith? Abstain. Councilwoman Davis? Councilwoman Keys? Aye. Councilman Irvin?
Aye.
President Douglas?
Is your mic working, Ms. Councilwoman Keys? Mr. Sanders, we got a microphone malfunction. Ms. Keys, Councilwoman Keys. All right, we're going to now amend, this is a vote to only amend the agenda, or amend this ordinance, excuse me, amend the ordinance, and to change the fee from $400 to $800. All right, I make a motion.
A second.
Now public discussion.
Anyone from the public?
Deborah Garcetti, 764 Marshall Richardson Road. I just have a comment for consideration as to, like currently, it stands at $400. I'm assuming that's an annual fee. If you are inclined to not raise it to $800, perhaps you would consider the $400 as a semi-annual fee. Just thought I'd bring that up as something to consider.
What do you mean, city annual fee? Is it-
That they would pay the 400 twice a year.
Oh, 400 twice a year.
I'm in favor of that because we would still be getting the 800 and it lowers the barrier for entry.
That's a nice consideration, because with one of your sales taxes, I do have to pay twice a year. So definitely, it's doing your best. Right, correct. Absolutely.
I don't see why we have to change, we can actually break it up, they can still break it up, even if we're discussing 800. They can break it up on their own.
Councilman Smith?
Abstain.
Councilwoman Cates?
Aye.
Councilwoman Keys? Aye. Councilman Urban?
Aye.
Councilman Douglas? Our next ordinance will be introduced by Councilwoman Cates.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Bogalusa to enter into a lease agreement with Diamond Scaffolding. Diamond Scaffolding is located in our industrial park, and they are wanting to branch out. It's a lease agreement which will be entered into by the city of Bogalusa and Diamond. The premises, the landlord agrees the lease to the tenant, and the tenant agrees to lease from the landlord. Now, I do have tonight, Mr. Carver, we did have an opportunity to visit with Diamond Scaffolding this past week, our capital improvement committee. Mr. Carver, if you could come forward, please.
And just for introduction, so we were approached by Diamond Scaffolding, their company located in the old Catholic World building, I believe. They have poured a lot of money into the city-owned building that they're in. They believe in local commerce. They want to stay here in Bogalusa. They're asking to rent the 5 acres immediately to the left between Maximus and their building. And I'm all for it. Any expansion, any way that the city can help business, local business expand, we want to. So thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you. As y'all asked, I have some brochures and literature on our company. As Diamond Scaffold, we've been in business for over 20 years. The paper says 20, but we've been 22 years in business, and we have been in several states with our business. And we have moved to Bogalusa. We've been in the big cities and so forth, and we'd like to take this opportunity to grow here in the city of Bogalusa. We've taken the building, as the mayor has said, and we have taken a building that has been dormant for 20 years, I think, and today it's up to modern technology. We are functioning well with this building. We would like to take and have the other 5 acres because we're looking to expand. Along with expansion, of course, that brings the opportunity for jobs to come in to Bogalusa along with the revenue that we're going to bring in. We are right at a $35 million company, and we're looking to continue to grow. We receive material in from overseas. We're looking to take that 5 acres that's next to us and expand it into loading docks and storage facility for new material coming in overseas to be sold. Along with that being sold, that also generates revenue for the city. So that's what we're looking to do. And as I've met with the councilwomen and men of this, what we'd like to propose too, along with the lease, we know it's a year-to-year lease. We would like to see it go to a 10-year lease. especially if we're looking to put in $1 million into, getting the property ready for our work.
So my recommendation is gonna be, to pass this as is tonight and come back and revise the lease, because that hadn't previously been brought up. This is the first I'm hearing about it, and I think that my team is gonna need more time, because a 10-year lease is a huge commitment, and that's what we're dealing with right now in the industrial park. We have a lot of people under 10-year leases, so the rent that they're paying is locked in, but property insurance is steadily rising, so we're starting to lose money out in our industrial park. I'm not completely opposed to 10 years, but I don't think that's a decision that should be made here tonight.
I understand, and I mean, that's what, spending the money that we're looking at spending on the property next to us, plus the renovations that we've done to the building and stuff, that's the way we're gonna see it, spending that kind of money on that, and I know it's new to the council and yourself, but that's what we would like to see, because with spending that money on that piece of property, we look at it, it would take us at least 10 years to recoup after spending that kind of money.
Gotcha. Yes, sir, and I don't disagree, I just think that we need more time to act that.
That's fine, that's fine.
Yes, sir.
Also, Mr. Carver, could you share with your locations, your gross amount that you're paying?
Yes, we're at 511 Industrial Parkway Drive, City of Bogalusa. We're in the industrial park.
And some of your offices across the nation?
Ma'am?
Some of your offices across the nation?
We have 2 offices right now that are in function, is in Athens, Tennessee. We also have the office here in Bogalusa. Our corporate office is in Fairhope, Alabama. We generate, we serve the industry, industrial industry, as long with commercial industry and scaffolding. We have, we do a lot of industrial work. Chevron in Texas right now, we've got a big contract in there. The power plants on the East Coast, we're supplying them with scaffolding. Also, along with here in Bogalusa, we have work in the paper mill.
Thank you.
We'd like to thank you so much.
And, I'm sorry, and also inside the brochure that you'll see that we have jobs that we have completed and continue moving forward.
Okay, we would like to thank you for your presentation. And like the mayor said, you know, we have to, discuss that 10 years.
Right, I understand.
Thank
you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Madam President, at this time, I make a motion that we accept. We have to do public.
Second.
Public discussion?
Deborah Garcetti, 764 Marshall Richardson Road. I think this is a wonderful thing. I just want to make sure that we're not falling into a pitfall that a prior administration extended for leases with 0 rentals due, like free rent. I don't have a copy of the lease, so I have no idea what the lease agreement says, but I think there are a couple of things that you might consider, especially when you're looking at the 10-year lease. Anybody that's leasing property needs to pay rent, first of all. There are measures that you can put into the lease where they can recoup their capital investment over the period of time of the lease. They get credits each year for how much their capital outlay is.
probably already know this, but just in case, most commercial leases, especially if they're auto-renewed or for an extended period of time, include automatic step-up in payment. You can determine what percentage that rental amount increases every year that the lease is automatically renewed. Also, most commercial leases include an annual assessment for common ground maintenance. So I'm just hoping that I'm adding a little something.
Thank you. For the record, Ms. Cassetti, Diamond Scaffolding has been affiliated with the city of Bogalusa. They're already in a lease. If we'd like to review from our budget, you know, the revenue they bring in, I'll be happy to share it with them.
And we would like to see what you were talking about zero. We track that very closely, even with the previous administration. There was one renter that did get behind, but he got caught up and he paid us in full. But so we don't know about anybody getting alleged free rent up there. But that is tracked very closely.
Okay.
Very,
I was
very
at a
closely.
meeting one time where it was like this guy has a big rent.
Matter of fact, the fiscal administrator made sure that nobody was. All right?
Okay, now for this, this ordinance here is being pulled until, further discussion.
Can't you see what thing to the mayor, maybe we can do something about a step up for insurance payments or property insurance or whatever, over the course of time, when it's actually written into the contract and solve that problem pretty easily, I would think.
Well, we started working on it, like the call center, they had been paying the city, I think, $60,000 a year. We came in and renegotiated that lease, they're now paying us, I think, $220,000. So we're trying to make it more
But I
fair.
think maybe it could just be written into the contract. Anyway.
And I would also like to add for the record, even though we're gonna be pulling it, that we have the opportunity to go out to Diamond Scaffolding. And they do, hire persons 18 and older. They train their on the site. They do all the education, all the learning of the tools there on the site. Some of the gentlemen, when they got there, did not even know how to drive a forklift. So they're actually learning, different skills, So when they go out into the, different communities, and they're almost worldwide, they're actually know how to handle the equipment, know the proper terminology of the equipment, and I commend them for a job well done. They were very nice, very professional, and everyone that I encountered were very, very knowledgeable of their job skills. So hats off to you all, and definitely y'all do need that extra space to make sure that the material is not being ruined by the rain. So when it does come back, I just wish you nothing but the best. You're welcome.
Cancel discussion. Okay,
I'm sorry,
due to this being pulled, we will vote by roll call.
Councilman Smith.
Madam President, for transparency purposes, you indicated that at this time, this is being pulled. Is there any particular reason why that we could share with our owners?
Yes, I think they indicated that they would prefer a longer term.
Yes.
I think that we should go back to the drawing board with them to make that happen instead of voting on this when they indicated that they want different terms.
Okay, I thought I heard we were gonna come back, but yeah, that makes sense.
If we're gonna start on the roll call for pulling it, Councilwoman Smith. Aye. Councilwoman Cates.
Aye.
Councilwoman Keys. Aye. Councilman Urban.
Aye.
Vice President Burns.
Aye. Our next ordinance, will be introduced by Councilor Harris.
All right, an ordinance establishing the Avenue F Dog Park in the city of Bogalusa.
Second.
Public discussion.
Gary Quincy, 20 Bill Street, Revolution. I don't understand what you're talking about, Mark. Establishing the Avenue at ballpark?
In the community about this dog park. Let me be completely clear here. Bogalusa does not meet every mark when it comes to bringing in new business. When it comes to population, we fail. When it comes to income level, we fail. We don't meet every box that we need to meet to bring in new business here. But when businesses are looking to come here, they ask, well, what community amenities do you have? Do you have a swimming pool? Do you have a dog park? Do you have a skating park? Those are the things that we have to start building up so that I can bring people in here and tell them what we have. This is a small investment. The total investment, we're projecting about $20,000 to $25,000. That's very small compared to the dividends to which this can pay for our city. So I agree there are more pressing issues, but the best bang for our buck is to establish a dog park. I've heard everybody talk about why they won't bring their dogs. Look, it's simple. If you don't want to bring your dog to the dog park, don't bring your dog. But as your mayor, it's my job to expand opportunity, and this is one way that we're able to do so. And I look forward to the day when I can bring an executive in here and they say, well, do you have a dog park? And I can say, well, actually, we do.
No.
Deborah Bromfield, 624, wait, dang it, forgot the address. 62407, it's Seal Road, it's in Angie. I don't live in Bogalusa, but I do everything in Bogalusa. About the dog park, is it gonna be insured? Because of dog bites, dog attacks, dogs that don't get well, get on to one another, children that might get, bitten or something. I just want to know, I don't see the purpose of the dog park with having a rural area. I can see it in an urban city because they don't have houses with yards. But the majority of the people here have access to grassy areas. So I don't see the point in that. But my concern is insurance, to make sure that, nobody's hurt or anything.
Right, so we've been in touch with Bill McGee Insurance, which is who the park liability insurance is through as of now. But in this ordinance, it states, park in section 3.2, park users shall assume all liability for any injury or damage caused by their dogs while inside the park. Owners are solely responsible for their dog's behavior and must take appropriate measures to prevent incidents or conflicts. And this is common practice with many other dog parks across our state.
Well, I'm a former teacher, and I know that whenever I took kids on a field trip, they had to take home a thing, a paper, that said that we were not responsible if anything happened to them or whatever. And that was a piece of paper. It was not worth anything because parents can still sue or go after that teacher. I don't know if that's going to really work. But that's all I have to say. I mean, yeah, I just want to make sure that the city of Bogalusa is going to get sued because of something that could happen. You are going to put a fence around it, I assume.
Yes, ma'am. So far, it has cost us about $13,000 to clear the land. We're estimating another $7 to $8 for fencing.
Okay. All right, I hope you're not through, because there's 2 trees that need to be removed.
Right, they're not done yet.
Hi, how y'all doing? My name is Tommy Tyson, 1410 Max Street, Bogalusa, Louisiana, Bogalusa. And I've been a lot of places in all over the United States, different places and stuff like that. It's a small town and everything. They do have all that. And I commend the mayor for trying to bring a lot of things over. See, one thing about Bogalusa, we used to certain things, and oh yeah, okay, look, I'm sorry. You hear me now? Okay, like I say, I've been around, and Bogalusa, if you haven't been a lot of places, some people have been places, went off for a few weeks and come back. I'm talking about being staying years and years and stuff like that, and lit towns and everything. And I commend the mayor, because he kind of bring a lot of things in here. And I understand that a lot of times when people that never been nowhere, they gonna always, oh, I want this, I want that. And, but you have to open your mind. Open your mind up. I love that dog. Well, I got a dog. I put a mother on, they put a mother on, and he loves to play with other dogs. You know?
Y'all talking about the dog. Mayor, I love the idea. Let me give y'all a little insight on it, because y'all know I'm for the special needs community. I'm for the elderly. Let me tell y'all something, that the dogs, they bring comfort. Just like I have a special needs son, Calvin. We have a dog for him. It brings comfort to him, and like the elderly, when they upset and stuff, it can calm them down. So that I think that would be a great idea to bring that to the city of Bogalusa. We need something different. Just like Mr. Tyson said, when you go other places and stuff, you see all of this. You know, and then like I said, they're just like the special need court. I commend Ms. Keys on that. We needed that. So y'all have an open mind to bring different things to the city. And like I said, just like the mayor said, when people come and want to bring their business here and stuff and all like that, and they may ask, do we have a dog park? You know what I'm saying? Because they have a dog. So just be open-minded about things. You know, this is small city. We being introduced to other things, so just keep an open mind about it.
Can you hear me? Getting called 414 Mississippi Avenue. Now, I generally talk about it just babies, but I'm fostering a pit bull, and he is strong and powerful. And I didn't anticipate it, but here I am, and I haven't. And there's no way in the world that I'm ever going to be able to walk that dog on the street safely. There's no way in the world that I'm going to be able to do that. The dog park will allow me to keep this dog. Otherwise, it may end up happening. And you guys wonder how many other senior citizens are dealing with the same question. What do I do with my dog? Right? I can't take the risk of walking and falling and tripping, you know. And we have a ton of senior citizens here. And we're losing, people are dropping dogs all the time. And there's no reason to think that isn't partially because they don't have the ability to take them and let them run and work out their energy. You know, and this dog needs that. They told me he was a quiet house dog. He is not. You know, I guarantee you this dog is not. But I got him, I got her, and I love her, and she's a sweetheart. And as far as like worrying about attacks and stuff like that, obviously, I don't know how she's going to behave around other dogs. I'm going to put her through training. I'm going to make sure that she has leash training, you know, to the best of my ability. You know, and I think most responsible dog owners that would bring a dog to a dog park before we do the same thing. The other thing is that all these worries have been dealt with by every other municipality in the nation. Answers all these questions about insurance and safety and stuff like this. We are not inventing the wheel here. I mean, it has been done over and over and over and over in city after city after city. I mean, we're acting like nobody's ever done this before. You know? I mean, it's kind of absurd. I mean, obviously it's been done, obviously it works, or there would be no dog parks anywhere in the U.S., right?
Right.
Well, people don't realize, just like you love our things, they got people that love their dogs. They love their dogs just like kids. And everybody need to be responsible. We're responsible for our kids. We don't let our kids run wild. These people are not gonna let their dog run wild because they love their dog. They take their dog to the veterinarian, get shots. Some of those take care of their and everybody's gonna have to be responsible for their own dog. And if you let your dog get out and bite somebody, oh well. And I got a chance on vacation a month ago. And I said, we was ready to building. And I said on the porch, and even they have a thing where you get a garbage bag with your dog poop. You can bring your mess up. You don't leave it there. See, they keep in Bogalusa, they mentality is real low. Some don't even have the garbage bag in their pocket. And when they dog poop, they don't walk off and leave for people to step on. They take it and pick the dog back up. And I never seen this little cleanser they had once. They went on there like we do all the trips. We clean all the trips, but you don't wipe out, man. So, you know, everybody got a dog. Be responsible for your dog, but don't take it off.
Jennifer Stevenson, 2775 South Columbia Street. I don't want to be repetitive of things that have already been said, but I do agree with the positive things that have been said. The mayor mentioned it being a highlight and selling point for the city. It was definitely a thing when I bought my house. It was not, my dog required a dog park. And Bogalusa didn't have one, but luckily we bought a piece of property where we could build enough of a backyard for the dog, but it didn't work, it didn't help. He needed that interaction with other animals. Now, if you were to bring a dog park, would I bring this particular dog to the dog park? Not anymore, because it's been 5-6 years with no socialization with other animals. I do have another dog that I would like to bring to the dog park though. Even if he did try to bite you, you can't break skin. But he could really use that interaction as well. I've also heard other people arguing, saying that dog trainers and vets will tell you not to bring your dog to a dog park, and that is absolutely not true. A dog trainer and a vet actually recommended for me to bring that dog to a dog park because of how much energy the dog had, and if he didn't get his energy out, he was extremely destructive. Dog parks really are simple to build. It really doesn't take that much, but it does really give a big bang for its buck. Thank you.
I'm just disappointed you didn't make it a heated and cooled dog park, to be honest with you. I think the dog park, I don't have an issue with the dog park. I have more of an issue with the owners who maybe won't be responsible. One of the biggest things I see in this community, comments made about this community, is the number of not spayed, not neutered dogs, and the number of I mean, I'm the crazy cat lady. I've got right now 19 cats, community cats I'm feeding, trying to get them spayed and neutered inside city limits so that they don't have other cats, and the same thing with the dogs and stuff. So I would like to see us, along with the dog park, for the people, I don't know if there's just people who can't afford it or people who take it personally when their dog is spayed or neutered. And you know what I mean by that. And I don't know which case it is, but I would like to see us as a city, along with the dog park, have dog health in top of mind with that, and help to educate people
and give them opportunities, maybe take some funds and have spade and neutering programs and make sure the dogs have their shots and make sure that everybody who comes into that dog park has their dog licensed and vaccinated. That we make that a requirement for anybody to bring their dog into that dog park, because that's going to protect, it's going to protect our city, but it's going to protect our pets too, so.
Right, and that is required. It says dogs must be up to date on vaccinations and display a valid license tag.
But how do we enforce it? That's the hardest part.
Say, I thought the ballpark was, no. Well, I have to say this part about
Judge Smith, 19 West 3rd Street, Bogalusa. I'd really like for us to be able to say to these businesses and these homeowners maybe coming to Bogalusa that we have dog parks. So, Castle Park, some of that area close to the bridge could be repurposed with a 3-sided fence going up to the creek. When I used to work for the Department of the Army in D.C., I enjoy just going and watching the dogs play and play in the water. So if we're looking for cost-effective ways to improve our city, I think consideration for Castle Park would be good too.
I'm Lori Wilkins, live 622 Union Avenue. Say that again. Lori Wilkins, 622 Union Avenue. Who's going to be responsible for making sure they comply with what? It's supposed to be, who's going to be responsible for making sure they're doing this?
Yes, ma'am. So what I can promise from the city side is random check-ins. I think once you get a few people on violations the first go around, they're going to spread the news. But I think that's all we can do right now.
Council discussion.
I do have council discussion, and I'll be short-winded, but I'm all for the dog park. Ms. Delbert did bring up a good, incentive. But I think it's a good thing to have a dog park. It's going to be gated. I would also like to see the city if they can put the posts up where they can have the trash bags and maybe some gloves for sanitary to actually pick it up in a trash can and dispose the dog poop. And I think it's very good for socialization between other dogs as well as the owners of the dogs, because they get to meet and talk and then get to interact. So now we have more interaction going on, and they can set up dates and times for people to come walk their dogs. And I also, this is the first part, but I would like to see especially more parks, even if like in front of Walmart, they had the big old grass and green area. Maybe that could be one day, hopefully in the near future, a dog park as well. Because while they're out shopping, they can bring their dog and socialize. So definitely the dog parks are a great thing.
I want to tell you something that I don't want to make it sound like we're spending money here, but first off, I want to say this. I think that also you're opening the dog park, but you have no pavilion in it. We don't have no pavilions outside of Cassidy Park and no pavilions outside of Goodyear Park. And I've been lobbying for pavilions for a long time over there where I'm at, over in Lee Park. That's a forgotten park over there. And I would like to see a pavilion that would increase the foot traffic. I know pavilions cost some money to build, but you don't have to build a monument to yourself. You can build it inexpensive. And while I'm on that subject, I think that we should take our pocket parks and make them themed. Say, for instance, one park would be Patriot Park, another park would be Innovation Park. That highlights some of our history of our city and that have different things going on with the things. I know that would require grants and creative thinking, but that's why I was sitting here thinking about this dog park. I will tell you the only part about it is, and I'm going to come down to the finances of it. So let me ask you something, Mayor. You said 13,000 to clear it, right? Correct?
Right, it's 2,200 and 11,500, so in that range.
About 1,300 or so. And then you're gonna put a fence around it, right?
Right.
And then that would be pretty much it, right, at that point?
At this point, other than the signage and the disposable bags that the councilwoman mentioned.
So
The stand where you.
probably around about 25,000?
That was primarily my question, as well. When I met with the mayor on yesterday, my two concerns were, planning and zoning, which I did forward to him the information on, Division 6, Section 162, that talks about, plannings of parks going through, submitted through planning and zoning, but moving forward, perhaps that could definitely be a consideration. And my other concern was the cost, which he did indicate the cost would probably be 13,000, something of that nature. So those were my only two concerns, to make sure we keep planning and zoning in the loop. As I said, that's in section Division 6 of planning and zoning. And then also with the dog parks, which we have talked about dog parks many years ago. It was in our comprehensive resiliency plan, but that plan did not work out. I'm glad that this idea is brought back, but it will acclimate some of the animal lovers and the animal owners to our lease law. We do have a leash law in the city of Bogalusa that will, if dogs can't just run loose, and that will give, as I said, folks, acclamation of that particular law that's in place as well.
Councilwoman Smith? Aye. Councilwoman Hicks?
Aye.
Councilwoman Keys? Aye. Councilman Urban?
Aye.
Vice President Johnson?
Next ordinance is
Okay, an ordinance provides a proposal / contract for planning and zoning training through Bogalusa and Associates LLC. Now, the mayor has recently appointed, we have a new planning and zoning in place, and according to state law, the beginning of their appointment, they should be trained at least every 4 years. I received training, some of the other council persons have received training from Bogalusa and Associates. We were due a presentation. Mr. Bogalusa was not able to make it, but I would like to read the actual proposal, contract, the work plan, and experience and qualification of Bogalusa and Associates. Bogalusa and Associates is a qualified consulting firm with the knowledge, personnel, and expertise to conduct planning commission training. Primary staff will consist of Stephen B. Bogalusa, Fred Neal, and Ellis Combs. Their resumes will be available upon your request. Bogalusa Associates has developed the following work plan to address the scope of work services required in this project, planning and zoning training. Specifically, the Bogalusa team has a thorough understanding of what a project of this scope and scale requires. The Bogalusa team has a professional approach to completing this project, including all required deliverables. The Bogalusa team will also be able to complete the project for the proposed cost within the stated timeline. Now, Mr. Bogalusa has also indicated, although he indicated
planning and zoning board members. Mr. Bogalusa also indicates he's very qualified as an educational component. He has been active facility member of the University of New Orleans Department of Planning and Urban Studies for more than 25 years, teaching planning, zoning, and land use law to graduate students as well. He is also an active facility member of the Loyola Law School, teaching zoning and land use law to future lawyers. In addition, Mr. Bogalusa developed a planning commission training program for the Louisiana chapter of the American Planning Association. He has conducted dozens of training workshops for planning and commissioners, board adjustment members, elected officials, and other citizens on planning, zoning, ethics, and planning law. Now, let's say also, this particular training that will be conducted, it will not only be for our planning and zoning commission, but it will also be for any elected official, for any, for the mayor, for the administrative, anyone that would like to attend this particular training session, which is a 4-hour training session, may attend. And also, I would like to say that this has been also presented to our Planning and Zoning Commission, and if this is actually voted upon as a favorable vote, then the Planning and Zoning Commission, they will decide on what dates will be available or what dates will be favorable for them to have this particular training done. So that's all I have in the presentation on, and let's see if I have his number. He said if anyone wants to call him, I will have that number. Sorry, my phone is down at this time, but I will have his number if anyone would like to call him and pose any questions. Thank you. Second.
I'm one of the newly appointed planning and zoning committee persons. I'm the secretary. I welcome training for all of us. I want to bring to point in the Bogalusa Code of Ordinances, Section 2-173, Code of Procedures. It says the City Council hereby adopts by reference in their entirety that certain code of procedures with recommended forms and explanations compiled and recommended by the Planning and Zoning Commission and made a part of the official records and archives thereof with a copy on file in the city clerk's office. This does not exist. If this trainer could at least provide the code of procedures, that is what we desperately need. My fear is that he's going to teach above our heads. And let me tell you, we need step one, where to find the information, how to implement the information, when does the classified advertising have to be done, and how to get it done. Who puts out the yard sign? How long does it have to be there? How long in advance of the meeting does it have to be there? What size does it have to be? Tiny little things. We don't need help with developing a master plan at this point. We need kindergarten.
Your building inspector is responsible for putting that sign out. I know that for a fact. Mr. Chess Richardson, he used to walk around here with what I call the Bible, and he had his codification of ordinances. He could find them ordinances faster than you find them on the internet. He knew what he was doing, and I will tell you something, the signs are supposed to be put out, and I don't know if the city is still using paper signs. I've told the last administration to move past that it's ancient history. We need to move to plastic signs, and they need side of the yard sign, but it has to be at the time it's introduced to planning and zoning, being introduced on your agenda, the sign has to be at that piece of property. I know that by state law.
The only one I've ever seen, and it's because I specifically looked to make sure that it was put out, because Landon's on vacation, he's been putting them
Oh,
out.
okay.
It's on Mr. Jenko's property, that's
Right.
just been introduced. It's maybe the size of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, like not facing traffic direction, black and white. If you didn't know that it was gonna be there, you'd never know it was there. That's how small and misplaced and insignificant it is.
That can be updated by the city without an ordinance. Without ordinance, that can actually be fixed.
By city council, by planning and zoning.
Be fixed by administration, because this falls under administration, y'all fall under administration and work at the pleasure of the mayor. So it can be fixed by administration, all you have to do is order you some new signs, that's plastic, that's more up to date, that's what I'm trying to say.
It's at least
And
11
that-
by 14.
Well, it'd be a standard political sign, 18 by 24, that you can actually see and write on there. But just like the parish uses that, with their permit codes.
I'm sorry, what signs?
18 by 24, like the
What signs are you referring
Rezoning
to?
applications.
Gotcha, okay, so you're thinking like a yellow yard sign with black writing, would that work?
That would work. And at least 11 by 14, Mark's saying that the political signs are what,
18 by 24 usually, 18 by 24.
Yeah,
Like a sign,
something
I hate to use political signs, but that's the standard signs in yard sign business. That's what I'm saying.
And the other thing is, it's like, I'm finding, I looked on the city's code of ordinances, I find that public notice before rezoning requires one classified ad. I look on the state, it says 3 classified ads. I'm lost. Help.
You bring up a good point, because we're now down to a once-a-week newspaper.
Right.
You bring up a
Which
good
is gonna
point.
take a really long time if I.
We will have to-
3 classified advertising.
We have an item on the agenda and we are deviating from that. While your concerns are very valid, I think our mission here
Yeah, I'm
is
sorry.
to get this training and then we can go into the specifics of what's needed to better see y'all.
Make
And
sure
that's why
that-
I bring it up, because I just don't want the city to pay a lot of money for him to come in and preach above our heads.
Well, as I had spoken with you, had voiced that concern last week, and what I will do, because we could not have his presentation, I will email you and President Keller his actual presentation, which is on YouTube. And I let him know that, well, he does know, that you're new. He does have a toolbox that you'll be doing your training with. And a lot of information is shared on Muni Code. I'm not your familiar.
Yeah, I've looked it up, but that's
A
what
lot
I'm
of
saying.
planning.
Muni code tells me one thing, the state of Louisiana planning and zoning codes tell me another thing.
Right,
I'm
right.
not
The Muni
sure
Code is
how
more or less
these
our local laws.
jive.
Right. Yeah, and he will address that, local laws versus the state laws as
Or
far.
how to remedy errors that have been made already.
Exactly. No, we're not looking at master plan, we're just looking at training.
I'm not talking about your master plan. Yeah. Mr. Mays knows. Anyway, that's all my.
Thank you.
Say.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Smith. Aye. Councilwoman Kay.
Aye.
Councilwoman Keys.
Aye.
Councilman Urban.
Aye.
Vice President Douglas.
Aye. That concludes our business. We're gonna go into, public participation, and I'm gonna ask that if you can allow the person to speak before you say
Rumpel, 6407 Hill Road, Angel, Louisiana. If you don't know, I'm the director of the museum, which was formerly called the Gatsby Park Museums, where we were located until we got flooded 3 times. I got a photograph of something that belonged to the museum in that log cabin building in the park that was destroyed. I had taken a picture of the Coral River, and we had a company, Murals Your Way, enlarge it into a very large mural. And it was attached to a board that was attached to the wall of the inside of the museum. And I don't know who did it, but it's been ripped down into shreds and thrown into a garbage can. That was museum property. And I feel like the city of Bogalusa owes the museum $638.40. That's how much we paid for the mural. I'm not even putting the price of what we paid to have the guy mounted up there. I just want to know if the city can reimburse the museum. We also have other things in that building. We have huge, heavy cases that can't be, that literally, it takes a lot to move those suckers, and they're not in the best condition, and they got glass on them, so I'm hoping that those weren't destroyed. And there's also, in the side room, a paper making machine that, well, at the time, I guess it was International Paper, who gave that to the museum. So I don't know what's going to happen to any of that, because I'm pretty sure that building's going to be used for youth or something. But this is what I would like to know, is can we get reimbursed for the destruction of museum property?
So I can speak to that. So I first learned about it when I saw your social media post. I was kind of disappointed because Ms. Bronco, you know my phone number.
No, I don't know your phone number. I called KK and asked her to tell you to call me.
Regardless, we will reimburse you, but I'd like to ask that anything that the museum owns in that building, please come get it within 2 weeks. Like you said, we do plan to use that as a team lounge for the kids. We want to provide something positive for them to do to keep them out of the streets. The youth court actually ripped it down. I wasn't aware, so I do apologize for that. But I do think that you all, to best serve both of us mutually, that you all need to come pick up the rest of that stuff out of that building so that we can move forward with the plans.
And Mayor, I ask that you give us a little bit more time than 2 weeks, because as Ms. Bell stated, everything that's in there is really hard, and we work off of volunteers, so we will have to get volunteers to help us as well as struggling. So 2 weeks would not be suffice for us, because it took over years to get everything donated, and we are moving things for our new location, so I just ask that you work with us, because the museum as well as citizens as well as the kids, so if you don't mind, can you give us just a little bit more time in between, please?
So I do understand that, but there are moving companies. If I could suggest that you all use the money that we're going to cut and use that to pay a moving company, because we have timelines that we want to stick to as an administration. And from my understanding, the museum has been out of Cassidy Park for like 7 years now. So the fact that we're still there, I think that we just need to cut this off, get the stuff out, and let's call it even. Yes, ma'am. Well, just for the public record, we're giving 2 weeks.
Next on the list, we have Mr. Joseph Smith. Thank you, Ms. Gilbert.
Joseph Smith, 219 West Main Street, Bogalusa. I'm here for 2 things. One, to talk about the Little League. I saw on social media where somebody's trying to take over the Little League. And I'm confused about that, but what I do know that we need to do is we need to try to integrate volunteers while maintaining some city oversight. So I think it's ludicrous to think that a LLC can sign a whole homeless agreement to the city and think that the city's not gonna be held accountable. I think our city attorney could probably speak to that we will be held accountable for what happens on that Bogalusa property. So I think it just needs to be worked out between the entities with Bogalusa having a lot of oversight. And within that oversight, I'd like to speak a little bit to my experience with the Little League Association. Back in 2002, I coached a team to the city champ. I had Josh Robinson on my team. He was dominated even at the young age that he was. He went on to play for Southern basically in Mississippi State. But while I was there was times when coaches, we had a coach, I hadn't been in there, a couple other people, Raymond, who was in here earlier. But oftentimes you end up with a lot of other people on the field, so the coaches are vetted. But a lot of times these people come onto the field and start working with their kids that may not be vetted. So I have some concerns there. On my way over here, it popped up on my phone, man convicted of raping a child and molesting 2 others. So that stuff happens. So I think whatever oversight we provide, it needs to be geared toward watching those children, protecting our children. No one coach should be by himself with a child, in my opinion. There should be some control measures that prevent that sort of thing.
Mr. Dale, you still want to speak? Okay. We'll move on to Mr. Adam, maintenance.
He was with me.
Ms. Ellen Lee. Ms. Gladys Langdon.
My name is Gladys Langdon, Mrs. Gladys Langdon, 1915 North Carolina. I was going to make that up about Bogalusa Little League because I didn't hear public discussion on that. Bogalusa Little League is a chartered organization, and it has been for the last 40, 50 years. We have a charter that has been paid, and the city of Bogalusa cannot use the name Bogalusa Little League. They can use Dixie Youth, whatever they want to use, but they cannot use Bogalusa Little League. That's a chartered organization. And the charter comes out of St. Petersburg, Florida. And if you want to look it up, you can. And we have people here in this room that's associated with the Bogalusa Little League on Avenue U, and that has been there for over 45, 50 years. So I saw on Facebook that they're hiring and paying all of this money for the people to be hired by Bogalusa Little League. You cannot do that. This is a volunteer organization. So you have to be careful. So it's only one charter only, and that's through Bogalusa Little League. So be careful with Bogalusa Little League baseball team or whatever. You cannot use it.
I will interject and say the Bogalusa Little League is not even a topic of discussion in what we're dealing with recreation. So I don't know how.
It has been coming up.
It came up on Facebook. We cannot believe what's on Facebook. I'm telling you factual information that the Bogalusa Little League is not a topic for discussion in our recreation endeavor that we're in the process of working through.
Okay, but I keep seeing it pop up. Because it's a charter organization that cannot be refused. Also, is there a time limit on certain people to get up and speak? Because I've noticed that certain people can get up and talk 20 minutes, and other people can only have 3 minutes. And they get up and disrupt the whole meeting. And that's not fair to everybody that's in this room to get up and want to speak and can't talk past 3 minutes. But certain people that sit over here, they get up and talk 20 minutes and talk stupid the whole time they're here.
That's why I asked him in a nice way to.
But he kept disrespecting you. But it's not fair. 20 minutes, that's wrong. Everybody else has 3. He should have 2.5 because he talked the whole year up. And, one more thing. We are talking about Cordero and, code enforcement. They haven't given me a citation because my yard is a mess. I had to put cinder blocks and tree trunks to keep anybody from driving through my yard because of the city's situation in the street. And it has gotten worse. And where the sewer is messing up now, you have flies running around out there in the street in the water. And I opened my door the other day and I had to fight out, and it's getting worse. I mean, it is horrible.
Can I have the address?
1915 Rosa Pearl Lane.
So we've already been out to Ms. Lampton. I went out personally and met with Ms. Lampton. The problem that we're having as a city right now, we can't find any heavy equipment operators. Our heavy equipment operator is out on sick leave.
I understand.
And we interviewed, we have taken like what, 8 or 10 guys down the yard who claim they are heavy equipment operators, and they can't even pick up a rock. So we're between a rock and a hard place right now because it's like, what do? Do we blow our budget line and try to contract out work, or do we try to continue to look for heavy equipment operators?
I understand.
So we're going to be making a bigger push to try to get some more equipment operators, but until then, we can't really do much right now. We even have the excavator that I told you we were waiting on. We have it, but we don't have anybody to operate it. So that's something that we're working through. There's a labor shortage across the country right now. It seems like nobody wants to work. So we're just trying to find a needle in a haystack right now.
I understand.
Mayor, to help with that, I'll give you the name of our heavy operators, who conducts the trainings, and maybe we can hire some of the new grads once they complete that class. Yes,
It's been,
I can set the timer for it.
it's been since 2018.
No, he's talking about the time.
I know, the time, hush. Also, one last thing. Mr. Mayor, thank you. Thank you for all you do. You're doing a great job in Bogalusa, something we have never had done before. And I commend you on your job. You are the first one that we have ever had to want to do something in Bogalusa and make Bogalusa a better place. So again, I commend you and thank you for all you do.
I understand this name, but it's 620 Georgia Avenue. I'm Foot Square.
I could stay under 20 minutes in the address. Here we 220 Bill Street, Bogalusa, Louisiana. I think I said I was going to talk on the parks. I've been running around Cassidy Park, I guess, it's over 50 years. And this young man here was talking about, I think, the backside of Cassidy Park along the creek with the dogs. That could be made a great place. Our paper mills, several of them have made donations of property. We now have property on the backside of Cassidy Park, all the way from Barrett Street, all the way up to Avenue B again. And that property, I had a dream of having a nature trail and Choctaw and nature trail. The Choctaws settled that area and years ago, and I understand from one of the old councilmen that we can get some money to make that happen for people to study Choctaw culture and nature in that area. And I'll leave it at that. For one thing, Mr. Mayor, were you responsible for digging up the beautiful azaleas, or did the council decide to do that, or what? People come from all over to see the most beautiful azalea garden down in South Louisiana. Who did it?
Are you talking about the bushes in the entrance of Cassidy Park?
The beautiful azaleas in the in the southwest corner of Cassidy Park, yes, sir.
So that's
not just bushes. Two-tone azaleas bloom there twice a year. Everybody enjoys seeing them. Could we get some, let the kids do something besides tearing that? That's beautiful. If y'all, anybody think that's ugly? Me, that's wrong. It's almost as bad as in the previous administration. Y'all talking about pavilions? I'll tell you what, I think Jeff Boone with the city come to cut down the finest mulberry tree in the area, blooming and everything, because it might fall on one of those pavilions. A forester told me that pavilion was not worth near what that mulberry tree was. That's not true of you, though. I'll leave it alone.
All right, thank you, Mr. Fudd. Mr. James Young?
James Young, 711 Ontario Avenue. I got two things. One of them is on Avenue L where it intersects with Willis. Can we put a three-way stop sign there? Or do you think it's a good idea? Because a lot of times when you pull up there, the car will be coming from Avenue B, and they'll speed up so you can't want to get out, you know? It's, seems like it'd be more fair for a three-way. Whoever gets that first. Yeah. And the other one is that bridge right there across the street from the park. It'd be nice to have it rebuilt. It shouldn't cost that much money, I don't think, but it really, people's been here a long time. You can remember when it would free up traffic. If you're having something going on at the park, they could go up Avenue K. It would open up and help Pleasant Hill a lot, you know. That's just a couple of things that we can think about that wouldn't cost a lot of money as far as the three-way stop. You know?
Yes, sir, we'll take it under advisement.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Debbie McLeod?
All right, Debbie McLeod, for Mississippi. First question is about handicap parking. It used to be right on the side of the building here, the sign has been taken down. I keep looking for the sign for handicap parking and I don't see it anywhere. And if you're worried about ADA, you need to get it back up. And I'm saying about the dog park, I thank y'all for going for that. And I also want to compliment the council and the mayor for a much more civil and positive and productive meeting tonight. Thank you all.
I stand before you all tonight. I'm the president of the Bogalusa Little League, and so I'm gonna take this off because I can't get over that phone with y'all. So you know, I heard the address earlier about the city park, and I have some concerns because you know, Bogalusa City Park is supposed to be a city park, and I heard Councilwoman Key say that this is not a Little League issue. This is not having to do with the Little League. It has to do, it's all about the situations and everything you all have going on with the city park and the recreations. Is that not right?
Not the park. What we are dealing with, the concerns that we are facing is between an entity and a city, not the public park.
So let me say this then. You know, Bogalusa is in a place where that it has already been divided for so long. And sometimes the problem exists because nobody wants to address the monkeys and the elephants in the room. I don't mind addressing them. Now, we need to get to a place where that people just can't decide that I want to do my own thing. You know what I'm saying? And come in and say, hey, what I got going on is the best thing going on. You know, and then the city sits in a place where they got to be held hostage as to whether or not we're going to agree to it or not agree to it. You know, I am confused because of the simple fact that the charter, yes, look, you know, so I heard the gentleman say that, hey, we want youth sports to come here, we want to do this, we want to do that, do the park and all that kind of stuff right now. Listen, is it good for the community? The community of Bogalusa already have a little league baseball. What are you doing with that? They already have one. Do you need another entity to come into town? Why not support what you already have? I'm
sorry, because history shows us that you can't support what's on one side of town because you're on the other side of town. We need to get beyond the side of town and just address the fact that we live in a space where we must coexist. We don't want to use the right words. Black folk and white folk coexist together. You know what I'm saying? And we've been monkeying around this whole thing for so long, like, oh, we got to come to the courts, we got to come to the city council meeting. I've watched a lot of stuff, and this is beyond even more than parks, it's beyond youth sports. It's about division in a city. And this city has had too much division, okay? And if we keep on allowing certain things to go on, it's just gonna keep on having division. What's good for the city? The city of Bogalusa needs to be geared towards what's good for our children. We are losing children left and right, but yet we're sitting here worried about what entity or what program or what outreach is going to be better for city parks or for youth sports. Youth sports been existing in Bogalusa for over 45 years with the Little League. It's been this city park in Bogalusa. Let me just be the one to address this elephant in the room. This city park in Bogalusa was for a long time not even desired for people of color to even play ball there. And I don't mind talking to you about this situation. Okay? But now all of a sudden you got people who want to come on, oh, we're going to build a committee, we're going to build an outreach that's going to address the situation in youth sports in Bogalusa. You need to address the situation, how you're going to stop being divided in the city of Bogalusa. And what about our children? We got a school system that is 90% black, but then we have a 90% white staff, but then they addressed. You got too much stuff in the city of Bogalusa that is not addressed. Where we need to be more concerned about our children. What are we going to do to, listen, let me tell you something. Our children are suffering because we can't make the right decisions. We try to be politically correct. We try to make sure that everybody get their voice heard. Everybody get their point across. Listen, the point across, Councilman Irvin, Councilman Cates, Vice President Douglas, Councilman Keys, and Councilman Smith is what Mayor Tron, what is best for the students, what is best for these children in the city of Bogalusa. We had our time. I got more years behind me than I probably got in front of me. But whatever legacy I leave in the city of Bogalusa, I want to make sure it's a legacy where our children don't have to suffer from these decisions that we're making today. It is like beyond me why we cannot, why we got to have all these, we got to sit and discuss about outreach, youth sports. I'm okay with it, but I'm not okay with the fact that our children have been split up. And they don't, to me, this is gonna split these children even the more. We got kids, I walk in Walmart. Kids want to speak to me, they can't speak to me because I don't look the right way. Children can't play together because they don't look the same way. And we're going to keep on with this division. It needs to stop. It really needs to stop. And you all are the face of this city. You are the face of this city. Whatever legacy you leave it today. You got to put a stamp on what legacy you want to leave behind. And don't let the legacy be because of what family. The city's been divided by families for way too long. I don't mind addressing their monkey.
Yes, sir. We all do respect, yeah, we extended time. But I lost. My comment was about the concern for the chartering of Little League being at stake. And my response was, that's not happening. Now, what you're speaking of is not on the books. It's not on the books. It's not on the books. I understand what you're saying, but it's what I'm saying.
I'm going to speak about what was spoken earlier about youth sports,
right,
committees.
But they're still in they still have to come to the table to make an agreement. And so I can't comment on something that has not been decided. Both parties still have to come to the table to make an agreement. Once that happens, it will be on the books. It will be back, in front of the city, and then you are welcome to ask your questions, to share your comments. But I agree with what you're saying. Everything needs to be for the greater good of the kids. Thank you.
mayor's having trouble.
Thank you all, Minister Spikes. I think I understand where you're going. I think you're saying that we should be focusing on supporting Bogalusa Little League instead of starting a new board and commission. That's something that we're going to and take under advisement, but I do understand what your argument is. I'll keep my remarks short tonight. We have the back to school bash. Almost 70 organizations are coming together this Saturday in Castle Park from 4 to 7 p.m. for the largest back to school event the city has ever seen. Folks, I think this speaks volumes that our city is coming together. We have businesses, we have all the politicians together, we have nonprofits, youth organizations. Everybody is coming together for our youth, and I want to continue to see that happen. So I just want to say thank you to all of our partners. Land clearing on Marshall Richardson. We've gotten a lot of questions about this, even to the point where the former mayor is saying that we're trying to build affordable housing. Folks, that is not true. We are working with an engineering firm to try to build a retention pond. If you know anything about that neighborhood over there, you know that they suffer from severe flooding. So the city owns this 4 acres. We're trying to make the most use out of it, and I think that's a great way to do so. So more information will be coming soon on that. Crime cameras. We've installed license plate readers around the city, all of the entrances and exits of the city. We've secured $160,000. I had to go up and keep advocating at the state capitol for. We've already spent about $30,000 on cameras, so shortly here we'll have over $200,000 in crime cameras placed all around the city. Crime has been down. And hopefully this will help keep it that way. You know, we have a problem with people speaking up. Well, guess what? These crime cameras have gunshot detection. We can't get back at them in court, so they're going to be who speaks up. That's all that I have for tonight. I want to thank you all for sitting here this long with us. I think that we have had a great meeting. I think this has been our best meeting thus far, and I'm happy to be working with the council. I think that we can accomplish a lot over the next 2 years. So thank you. Have a great night.
So I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I do want to make mention, I want to address something. Integrity breeds or builds, should I say, character. And it's unfortunate when people come to the podium because of personal vendettas or whatever and interfere with the business, you know, of the city. Ms. Deborah, you made a remark that I've been here for 8 years and you have not seen me. I've been here for 4. This is my 5th. And 4 of those years, you sat on my aunt's porch, where you could have, you know, brought whatever concerns you have to me. Regardless of whatever lens that you view me, I'm here to serve my city, and that includes you. So therefore, if you choose not to bring an issue to me, that's personal. But to say, right, but I'm sorry, I don't go door to door and say, hey, do you have a problem? I put my number out. When you go and vote, I didn't come to your house. I did not come to your house. And because you have not said your mentality is low. No, that would be yours. And I apologize for having to stoop to your mentality. But I will say this, even though you have not seen me, walk down the street and ask your 2 neighbors, have they seen me? And when someone says that, oh, Danielle is not doing this, Danielle is not doing that, have you called Danielle? Have you asked Danielle to do anything for you? Then you can judge my ability and capability. Thank you and have a good night. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I want to thank everyone for coming.
Why y'all didn't hit the gap, or it got pretty hot in here?
Councilwoman Cates.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. We need, once again, your continued prayers. We need your input. We need your concerns. And as you all know, this is my 3rd term, and I'm still Councilwoman Cates. I'm still doing research. I'm still digging, and I'm not gonna change.
And you.
And I would also like to say, I want to thank the groups for coming out tonight, for Miss Pam's, she may have left already. I did want Officer Trevon to come forth to see how the Bogalusa Police Department, he said he would share on, once we're done, if you would, Madam President, allow him a couple of minutes. He's going to share what the Bogalusa Police Department is doing in circumventing the selling of liquor to our youth. Thank you, Officer.
So we are working with the state. We have a grant, and we have been working with Martin Parish Sheriff's Office doing undercover operations throughout the city and in the parish, and we've made numerous citations to businesses. And so we have several ongoing investigations throughout the city as it concerns underage drinking and the purchase of alcohol. So we are working with ADAP and the state and the PSA.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And then also, I would like to say we did have a meeting this afternoon. I'll wait until they leave. We had a meeting this afternoon, our finance meeting, and there was a lot of information that came out. I think the main thing that came out is that communication between administration and between our council members. If anyone has any additional information for me, you may contact me at 985-241-1819, and my logo is still about you. Thank you.
Also, I would like us to remember not to violate any public meeting laws for as when renovations are going on between 80 to 100 persons for the war room. Also to the gentleman, I'm sorry, from Diamond Scalp, I'd like to commend y'all once again for a job well done, and for everyone who got up and spoke. To Mount Pleasant Church, thank y'all for allowing us to assemble, to meet there, to put to package the food sacks, to the other Councilwoman Cates and, Councilwoman Keys, and some more volunteers from the community came out. And I was just grateful to be a part of giving back to the kids, because that's very important to make sure that we're giving back to the kids. Pastor Doche did hit some valid points, but also we have to be mindful that not to monopolize anything, to give the parents as well as the children an option to choose to which team or soccer or baseball, football that they would like to play on. So definitely we have to keep that in mind. And I would like to say happy birthday to Mark Irvin, Councilman Mark Irvin, I'm sorry. Happy birthday to you. Let's remember to keep Councilwoman Shelby and President Mr. King Kellison in our prayers, and remember the bereaved families. Continue to pray for our fellow neighbors, and as well as the city as a whole, to the administration board, to the council. Also, thank you to the police department and the fire department and everyone in the medical field. A lot of times we forget about the EMS, but those guys and ladies work really, really hard. So I'd like to commend them on the job well done, and thank everybody for coming out.
Thank you, Councilwoman Smith. Councilwoman Oliver.
I want to thank everybody. Remember, always bring your sleeping bags. You never know what's going to be a 3 night. So I want to thank Diamond Scout Team the other day for our tour. They were very professional. I was very impressed how they have turned that rundown building into a usable, viable commercial space. It was very interesting. I had been in it and it was a warehouse, and I can tell you it was going downhill at that time, but y'all got turned around, very good job, and you're actually turning to commerce and you're employing people. we're proud of them. So, also I want to thank the citizens for showing up tonight. And don't forget, we haven't forgot about the streets of Bogalusa. They all need to be paid. I mean, a lot of them need to be paid. So let's not forget about that. I know the administration's working on some funding for that. And because I constantly are getting calls, I know he gets calls, I get calls all the time. Because I got some rough streets over there, like on Hudson and Wilmot and Homachita and Washington Street. They keep calling me about that. So, and I mean about the pavilions. We need to look into some funding. I know grants, but I don't want to waste all the city's money. But we do look into a grant possibility program, and I think that would make some of these little pocket parks. We got 20-something parks in Bogalusa, and it would actually make some of these parks more usable and user-friendly, because then you could host things under them, and people can have little parties and stuff like that. Not a big pavilion, but a small pavilion. So, but anyway, with all that said, remember we're still in the hurricane season. Do take precautions and protections when you see something on the go. Thank you very much, and have a good night.
I'm gonna start by saying good evening, and I thank you all for staying. Not coming, I thank you all for staying. Our next meeting is gonna be August the 1st. Every restaurant is closed on me, so I guess I'm gonna go home and eat my bowl of cereal. And I'm gonna wish you all a good night and
That's what she said. That's basketball. You got a SD card here? No, I got it. No, I sat back there with you guys. You got something to read that card? If you can read a memory card, back there with the card. You can? Supposed to be a credit inside. You got your bill. I'm just going to give you the money. So I don't see your guys. That's the only